We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 408. You guys missed a little powwow, little meeting there between RPG 85 and OJ about Xenoblade Chronicles X, but I all just sat here and listened.
Sean rushed through the game and he tried to act like he did it.
Nope. Played it at my own pace with my own
Your own pace
set.
of skipping everything.
I did not skip everything. There is
This
a
man played with
there's a
characters.
main story in the game.
This man played with 3 characters.
No, I actually switched out to I got rid of the dude. I don't remember his name, and I got the ganglion guy. I don't know if that's spoiler.
That's definitely a spoiler for some people.
I don't give a fuck.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Well, people saying the audio started late anyway, so maybe it didn't spoil it for him. But this is episode 408. I might have Gene Park drop in here anytime, so we'll keep an eye on him. If he pops in, we'll add him to the panel here. But then Evan's at like a week-long LAN party or something. I don't know. Hopefully he's back next week.
I want an MBG here.
Oh yeah, MVG. Yeah, he did. He actually did a video today on the backwards compatibility, so he's already in there too. But it was a week. It was definitely a twisting and turning week. So there is a lot of stuff that happened. We're going to try to get to all of it. Let me go around here and introduce everyone. We have our guest tonight, Sunbro Nation.
Hey, John, thanks for having me back on. Excited to be here. No shortage of Nintendo stuff to talk about. It's been a roller coaster ride this week, so excited to talk about everything with you guys.
There he is. There's the guy.
Hello.
Look at that.
Hello.
See, just missed that. Gene, how you doing?
Good evening, everyone. Are we live already?
No.
We are. We were just doing instructions. You really popped in right where I would have had you anyway. So you were like right on time.
Perfect. That's how it goes.
Yes. How you doing over there, Gene?
Good. Hello, everyone. I'm Gene Park of the Washington Post. I have had a very, very long week. Just came back from New York City yesterday with all the Switch 2 shenanigans and a busy week. Busy weekend,
the
too.
demo.
So
You
working
got
all
the
for
demo
weekend,
it.
so.
You got to try the system out.
Sure did. Played it for several times. So
Good stuff. You can hit us with some quick impressions on it.
hell yeah.
Awesome. Let me put you in there too. Good to have Gene here. Sean, we got RGT85 here as well.
Hello.
Good to have Sean here. Celia.
Hi, happy Saturday. I'm really tired today because I stayed up late playing Banjo-Tooie. I decided I'm going to beat that one. I already have before, but like 100% it.
Celia, the biggest nerd on this panel, bro.
Oh,
Biggest
I know,
nerd. She's the biggest nerd. I'm
Yeah,
next.
Is this on the actual
She's number
N64? You playing it
No, I'm playing it through NSO. I'm a little frustrated with the Switch controls with it because of sensitivity. So when Banjo needs to sneak, it just doesn't freaking work. But it's okay. I've committed.
Okay. Good stuff. We have OJ player.
Yeah, I stayed at playing Conker's Bad Fur Day. No, I'm joking.
Oh man, I was really excited. I'm like, oh, I beat that already. Like I've been going through like my old
Stayed
games.
up playing Conker all night. Oh my god, when he meets people, it's crazy. No, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on, John. Appreciate you, man.
Have OJ here. Make sure you check him out the pre-show. He's usually live like an hour before.
Yeah,
Hanging out
the
with all
pre-show.
people.
Around 4 something, or I'm sorry, I'm using West Coast time. Like around, what was that? 7 something.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, about 7 something. And yeah, the pre-show today was like, it was actually pretty lit. So we had like hundreds of people in there. We were all talking about stuff and discussing things and random whatever. So it's really fun. So yeah, you guys drop by the pre-show if you want before here on Saturdays. So yeah, I'm doing that over there on the Player Essence channel.
So quick context on that. Casual Gamer Gatekeeper Essence belittling RPG 85's journey. Sean did officially beat Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. So he did it. Gene Park, I know, big Xenoblade X guy here. But Sean did go
220 hours in the game right now. So for me,
how much?
220 hours.
Oh gosh,
Nice. There's still tons of stuff to do. Like even if you there's fucking
Even if you rush through it.
No, even if you play at a reasonable pace, I'm sure you'll enjoy, finishing it and seeing the epilogue in 2026. But, some of us have things to do.
That's fine by me. That's how I've been playing them forever.
Yes, but RPG 85 did beat it. He said he was going to, and he beat it in a couple weeks. So,
Man of
That's
my
good.
word.
That's a good time. Yeah, it took me
Yeah.
about like a week or two too. So
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, so I'm working through it. I had to get through Assassin's Creed Shadows first. Now I'm getting there. I'm like level. I don't know. Sean's probably watching. Pretty in the
Yeah,
shadows.
you're like
Just
level
keeping an eye on my-
20. Just shut up.
Thank you. I'm level 20. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see that Assassin's Creed Shadows time.
I
Mm.
started playing Xenoblade instead. You started playing Assassin's Creed.
That's
Mistakes
true.
were
I'll
made.
get through Xeno. I'll get through it. Shout out to Fransby. Gifted 50 Spawn Week memberships.
Hey.
Name may not be count hour. We're
Wow.
not sure.
Fransby out here. Let's
Fransby's
go.
coming through. Yeah, if you got a gifted membership from Fransby, make sure you drop thank you in the chat to him. Shout out to Fransby. Been around constantly, even during the big live stream during the Switch Direct. Was out there. So shout out to Fransby, definitely. Let me go through. You know, we're just gonna. I'm looking at how all the notes is. There's like a ton of Switch 2 stuff, so we're just gonna start with
Really?
Switch 2 and go as far as we can before the end of the show because it is like that much stuff that's happened. Unless there's any other games people want to talk about they've been playing outside of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and I wanted to throw out to Sean just because pivotal moment for Sean there to get that done.
Did you know that there's a new Phantom 2040 game?
No, I actually forgot about that cartoon. Jeez.
Yeah, there's a new one, and it actually
Phantom-
looks really good. I might actually buy it. It's like very comic book art style. Almost kind of reminds me a little bit of Comic Zone with how like comic booky it looks, and it's a 2D side scrolling beat 'em up game. It looks pretty fun. I don't know.
Where-
I haven't heard anything about
I'll have
it.
to check that out. Yeah.
When did that come out?
Well, evidently, here's a shock. LRG will be doing a physical version of it. It came out, I think, like 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think it's just called The Phantom. Yeah.
The Phantom.
That's all my
How
favorite
long
words,
did
the way you described it. So
Okay. I see it. Yeah, it is The Phantom.
Yeah.
Oh,
looks
it's
very
got
cool.
like the dual pistols right on the front cover. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Are
Interesting.
we just shouting out games? Because
Yeah,
I
go
want to
for
bring
it,
one up
Julia.
too.
Hit us with it.
Crocs Remastered. After Banjo Tooie, I'm jumping in the Croc verse. So I'm excited for it. I'm going to buy it for PS5, and it should be a fun time. I never played the original games, so it's going to be my first adventure with it.
I think a lot of people looked past. I mean, back then it was like Mario or Crash, or like Croc was like way down on the list for a lot of people if they played it at all.
Yeah, but the fan bases are always Banjo Kazooie versus Croc. Who wins? It was like the PS, 1 kids and then 64 kids. So I never got exposure to that. So I want to play it, and I love me some retro. So just shouting it out.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, the Switch 2. Well, let's go through this. I have everything written down. It was 50. I counted 54 games. Yes, 54 games. Let me make sure I have the full list of them here. We also have the tree houses. There we go. Okay. So we can just kind of go through it. The direct was about an hour long. And I will say, as the direct was going on, it was pretty good. They did a little more technical details than I thought they would, and then they just went off on all the games. And I feel like by the end of it, I mean, I was pretty happy with what I saw. That was one of the better directs in a long time if we're just talking about the direct itself. And people were like, when I did give it a grade, a lot of people were grading it either A or B. I think like 80 some odd % gave it an A or a B. So for the most part, from what I could tell, until we got to the pricing, which we'll get to in a little bit, people were pretty happy with what they thought. So before I go through all of this, what was your guys' like general high level thoughts on what you saw just as a whole of the 60-minute direct?
OJ's showing us what the Nintendo camera will look like right there.
Ooh, I have a funny story about that, but yeah, we'll get to it.
I mean, it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked the system itself. I liked the games that were shown. It was all this stuff afterwards that kind of muddied the experience for me. But I mean, even still, I think I like the system. I like the screen of the system. I like the perceived power level of the system. I think that's very good. It's what a lot of us wanted. But there are lots of asterisks attached to that.
Shout out to James Rye, gifted 5 Spawn memberships. Give them a shout out if you got one of their gifted memberships. But shout out to James. I appreciate that. What about Celia? What'd you think of the direct? Just like when you're reviewing it at the end, what were your thoughts on it right there?
I don't know. My thoughts are pretty similar to Sean on this. There were a bunch of games I'm very excited about. I feel like Donkey Kong is going to be the game that's the system seller for me. Mario Kart looks cool. Spending $80 sounds great, but I'm really excited about that platforming adventure. It's giving if DK64 was good vibes, and I'm really excited for that.
Many people upset with that one, Celia.
Oh, do you not? Wait, what did you say?
Gonna get people upset with that one.
Oh,
if DK64 was good.
No,
okay,
she's right,
have you gone back and played that game?
It's a
I
terrible
have.
game.
There's a lot
Terrible.
of bullshit things.
I barely have anything good to say about N64. Sean is the one who thinks it's the greatest system of all time.
And even I hate it. So she's
Yeah.
100% spot on.
With its 400 game self.
Oh my gosh. Okay. No, like Donkey Kong 64 is one of those games that I played, enjoyed certain parts of it, but there was just so many parts that were broken in it. And I blame myself. I didn't realize that the game was bad until I was an adult. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. But yeah, so it's giving that vibe, except like I'll have a great time, hopefully, the whole time. But yeah, shout out to N64. I love Nintendo 64. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really happy that we finally got like a Delta Room date. I've been following that game for a very long time, and like I subscribe to Toby's newsletters, and so I'm so happy to see that come out into fruition. It's cool to know that Silk Song does exist still. That was great. It was a great shut up trailer of see it's there, yay. And there were a bunch of other games that I'm looking forward to. I don't know. I'm excited. Some of the tech stuff I think that we'll go into I think is cool, but we'll talk about it when we get there.
We can just start from the top then.
Yeah.
The direct, which they did open with Mario Kart World.
Wait, can I talk about my direct viewing experience? Because I actually saw it
Yes.
live with the
Oh.
media.
That's so cool.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Flex on us. Do it.
So,
nice.
like, I was sitting next to our good friend Jeff Keighley, in the back, and Doug Bowser was like watching both of us, like over our shoulders, like watching both of us tweet, which is really funny.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just a whole media, international media, Japanese media, Famitsu, New York Times, Washington Post, NPR, LA Times. I was sitting behind the kind of funny guys, Tim Geddes, Blessing, and Roger. And it was an interesting time. There was like cheers and everything there too. And everyone freaked out at the Dust Bloods reaction, and it was really funny to see that too. But yeah, we saw it in person. We couldn't talk about it. We couldn't we could only react to the direct, and we couldn't tweet about any kind of event until like the next day because we were all under embargo, which got me in trouble. Which CBS News just blurted out like there, and I had to say on national TV, I can't talk about this, dude. Guys, we talked about this already, but. They don't understand. They don't understand Nintendo embargoes, and
Well, I feel like just outside of the gaming industry in general, like the secrecy and some of that stuff just doesn't really translate for.
No, they don't understand it at all.
They
could not understand why I couldn't talk about a thing that they know exists. So
right.
And you can see it from the street, like it's public. You just go on Fifth Avenue and just see it right there. But whatever. But yeah, that was a weird, surreal experience, and all the Switch 2 hardware developers were there too, watching as well too. So it was very very much like Japanese presidential like White House kind of thing, where there was like a lot of security and so much going on. So all right. Well.
Good stuff. Well, they did start with Mario Kart World. That is their launch title for the Switch 2, and it is exclusive to the system. But the big thing here, they mention with how much larger it is than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which that, of course, based on a Wii U title, you kind of hope so. They're going to have a full direct for it on April 17th. And based on some of the hands-on previews, which I'm sure Gene can speak to, it seemed like a lot of the experiences were kind of walled off a bit, like they were very I say hand-holding, but very focused on specific levels. Or I am curious. This is the game that's caused a lot of the controversy that we'll get to soon. I'm curious if there is quite a bit more that they haven't necessarily told us about for this game, because it does look like Mario Kart as you'd expect, minus the free roaming and the fact that when you finish a race, you then go to the next track. You just drive to it. So it all seems very interconnected. But Minus, again, take away the price for now. We'll get to that. What do you guys think of Mario Kart World, the way it looks, plays?
I would say right out of the gate, like the animation, the work they put into making those characters look alive, stood out to me like immediately. And it's probably because we've been looking at Mario Kart 8 for over 10 years. But I mean, it was like the whole world looked way more alive, obviously, as you would hope it would. But what I didn't see coming, and we theorized about this last time I was on the Spawncast, some of the stuff where we were going over the trailer and stuff. But real world weather and time of day, all of that being in there, I feel like we still haven't seen a lot of that, even past the treehouse gameplay and stuff. And then platforming, like I didn't see like the wall jumps and rail grinding coming out. That's going to be a cool thing. And then in addition to that, I feel like they've still only shown us a few of the online gameplay modes, like the knockout mode with battle royale style gameplay, really clever from Nintendo. But I think they're going to like still go into like more battle gameplay stuff. And obviously they announced a direct for the 17th. The price point is the downfall for this game, but literally everything outside of that, like this looks like they took their time and created a true next gen Mario Kart. And I'm like, I mean, I will buy it, even it's from what I've seen so far, not happily at the $80, but I think they're going to do I wouldn't be surprised if at the direct they announced like a wave of content to come, like in like even like a booster course pass now, but over like the course of a few years and stuff like that. I think this game's going to be massive, and I like what I've seen so far.
Sumbro, I am the same way. I downloaded the 4K, ripped it from their YouTube channel and downloaded it and watched it, and it looks incredible. The animations, have you seen like when they get like hit with the lightning bolt? It looks like Tom and Jerry shit or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's got like that crazy like cartoon like animation. They've completely redone that stuff. Once again, also not happy with the price point. I made a whole video talking about how I don't like the price point. But I'm gonna put like a bazillion hours into this game. So, and I'm gonna be streaming it and I'm gonna be playing it for like forever, because I played Mario Kart 8 for forever, and it looks like a considerable step above Mario Kart 8.
Can I ask you something, OJ? You said you're going to put a bazillion hours into the game, but you're not happy with $80. Like,
I'm just not happy. I'm not happy
marry
with
that together for me, because like I spent $500 in Fortnite, but I played that game straight for 3 years, right?
Yeah,
so it's like I got my money's worth.
Let me explain. I'm going to get my money's worth, and obviously I'm a content creator, so I'm going to make money off the game. Like, obviously those are the things. I'm speaking about it from just a general consumer standpoint, and just from a general, like, I don't want the precedent to be 80, but I will say, like, listen, if you feel something is worth that, I don't go by MSRP standards. I never have. Just because they say some business guy tells you that something is $70, that doesn't mean that's the standard for everything. Bullshit. I bought Ratchet and Clank and I bought Returnal at $70. Those games to me weren't worth 70. Now I bought them and I tried it, but it wasn't worth 70 to me, you know? So, and what the hell, Concord, that was 40. The hell, that game wasn't worth 40. You know what I'm saying? And that's way under $80. That game is not worth $40 to me, at least. Now, other people, it was. They bought it. It flopped. Whatever. So I've never been an MSRP. It's got to be this. I've never been that way. But I'm just saying in general, I don't necessarily like it going up. I think 70's a good, that's already up again. But I get it, adjusted for inflation, all the other stuff. Like, I completely get that. But I would like it to be 70. I do think, the games were 60 with the Switch. Jumping it up to 70 should be good. But hey, I'm not happy with that, but I know that I'll get my value and money's worth. But, so that's kind of how I was talking about it from there. But listen, I know I'm going to, like, it's going to be worth my money. Like, I know, like, it's $80. I don't love that, but I know it's going to be worth the price for me, at least, But I'm getting the bundles, so it's like, I guess it's going to be 50. I don't know. But even if I had to buy it at 80, it'd still be worth it for me, just based on how much hours I'm going to put into it. But, I just don't love them raising prices for the general consumer.
OJ's
Guys, stop saying drop the price. We're not
calculator.
Nintendo. We're not Nintendo. It doesn't work. So
What'd you say, Steve?
it's not going to do anything. Go out to New York and protest in front of the Switch 2 experience at least.
I'm just jumping in there. No, OJ has a very good point. Yeah, because I know if you look at things like, versus like price you paid versus hours worth, of course that makes sense. It'll be like less than a penny per, game if you're putting like 200 hours or whatever. But it is a very dangerous precedent that's happening with it, because if games, Nintendo's setting games at $80, that all the other platforms are going to look at that and be like, oh, people will buy it $80. Cool. And like that really sucks. And while I do agree, paying more sucks, like the $70 I felt was a good enough jump for that. But I don't know. Like, they better include some free like battle passes for every copy and
It's
free
just funny because
DLC.
there was stuff that was 70. It's not worth 70 to everyone.
Yeah.
Just because people, what I don't like is I just don't like some type of standard. Well, they say it's 70, so it's no. It's what the hell you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop letting a company dictate what something is worth. It should be subjective based on, if you don't think something's even worth 60, that shit ain't worth 60. You know what I'm saying? It's worth what you want it to be, how you see the game. So don't take it as because they say something, it's worth that. You got to look at it and make your own determination whether it's worth it or not. I don't care if a game is $3. There's been times I've seen games, what was it? There was a game for like worth, it was like $3 on sale. I'm like, no, I'm good. Wasn't even worth that to me. So it's really going to be dependent on what you feel. So that's just my opinion. Stop getting tricked into thinking there's some type of standard that you got to abide by. You don't. You know?
True, but with that also, Nintendo participates in map pricing with retailers. So, if we have like other platforms, a game will be $70, but then like, wait a few months and like you'll get it for $40 or $30 or depending on like what is resonates with you with pricing is when you jump into it. But Nintendo games in general, for the most part, do not dip below maybe like a $5 to $10 window of what they're doing, and that's dependent on the retailer of doing that. So it just is dangerous because if the price goes higher, then it won't go lower. Even
No,
if
I agree. I don't like to
yeah.
see prices jump up. Like, I'm not a fan of that either
Yeah.
from the consumer standpoint. 1000% don't like to see that either. But at the same time, don't be beholden. That's what I'm saying. Just don't be beholden to it's 70, so therefore that's what it can be. It can be 70 and it's not worth 70. You know?
We got to the price conversation real quick. Like,
Yep, that was immediate. Mario Kart.
Yeah.
World. I mean, that is the
grinding
Mario
and the
Kart
open
World
world,
is
and
the
it's like, oh
lightning rod.
man.
Yeah.
It is the lightning rod.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I say something real quick about the price? Here,
You might as well
here's-
talk about the
here's-
price now.
here's-
Go ahead.
Here's my experience. Okay, I've talked. I can't. I will. Nobody will ever get this on the record. The AAA video game industry has been waiting for this. Every AAA publisher wants to charge more than $70. They pretty much look to Nintendo and Rockstar, the two biggest publishers in the world, the two biggest brands that have the biggest, public perception, to basically tank that public damage, because publishers and studios do feel like the games are still too cheap. Now, of course, on the other side, why are games costing so much, bro? Like, why can't you manage costs? Why can't you make a game that is within budget, that isn't going to break the bank, that isn't going to become like a Concord failure, where you're going to spend $400 million, and instead of $40, and then your whole studio shuts down after 8 years of work, and that's all you get, right? So there's a lot of problems going on right now with the industry right now. So I'm not defending the $80. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there's a huge problem where studios are clearly not making enough money, but they're also spending way too much money, and I don't know what to do. The consumer doesn't talk to any.
Sorry, that just
PlayStation
sounded
consumer.
funny, Gene. My bad.
Talk to any Naughty Dog or Rockstar fan and ask them if you think you would want to downgrade a Red Dead Redemption 2 or Grand Theft Auto 6, and they'll say fuck no, right? They'll say fuck no. I don't want Intergalactic to look worse than The Last of Us 2, but that is the only solution to having a cheaper game. But that's not going to happen. So we're going to keep spiraling towards the $80 to $100 game. That's where we're at right now. So.
Yeah, because we see these budgets go up, as you mentioned, and I don't know if we're seeing the game reflect the budgets and what they're getting to. So one example is Spider-Man from 2018 on the PS4, at like a $90 million budget. Then we find out Spider-Man 2 has a little more than it's like $315 million budget. And if you go from Spider-Man 1 to 2, it doesn't look like it has an extra $215 million or $225 million budget. It just doesn't feel or look that way. The diminishing returns, it's very strange. You're right, Gene. The plateau of visuals and
love Insomniac games, but in Spider-Man 2, for some reason, felt like they had to rebuild the entire city, and people forget, because due to the Insomniac leaks, right? People forget that there was a whole, Donkey Kong Bonanza-like terrain deformation gameplay that they played with, where buildings were gonna crash through and Dutton was gonna fucking go through walls and everything was gonna be explosive, and they threw all of that out. That is millions and millions of dollars that basically that we didn't get to see or play at all in the final product. So yeah, it's crazy that Spider-Man 2 cost that much, but because there was a lot of ideas that they spent money on and we just didn't get to play at all.
Wasn't it the license too, though, that made it like a lot more expensive?
I mean, every game has a license, but like
the Marvel license is super pricey, right?
But the Marvel license was there for Spider-Man 1, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
It was. Yeah, I get that. Did the license go up in recent years? And then also, didn't they build the game? It's 60 frames, right? Like having to build that whole thing in 60 frames, doesn't that also jump?
Yeah,
the price
they
up
did
too?
port the first or Spider-Man 2018. They ported it to PS5, and that apparently cost about $40 million to do that. So technically, that if you're all in $130 million for that game, 60 frames, the whole thing on the PS5. Basically, the idea is that the jump in budget didn't. You feel like it'd be very obvious if you triple the budget immediately for the game. But the point is, when we went from 60 to 70, I think people were expecting maybe we'd notice that price increase in the games we were buying, and I just don't think people are noticing it in the game. Now we're going another 10 up, so now we've gone from 60 to 70. That happened in 2020. Now 4.5 years later, we're now going from 70 to 80. And people are like, wow, this is happening very fast right now. And if you think about it with Mario Kart, technically between the two, we've gone up $20 from releases, Mario Kart 8 to then World. So it's hard for people, I think, to wrap their head around as to why it needs to be $80. And I don't think Nintendo's attempted to explain that yet, because Sean, you had a quote about they were asked and like they just said retailers will price it or like it was something like that, right? With MSRP. Yeah, they just like pushed it off to retailers. So I think this April 17th direct, we need to see this. Like, we need to see what it is before we can get a grasp on the whole picture with this game. But I still think it's going to be incredibly difficult for Nintendo to persuade everyone that it's definitely an $80 game.
Also, real quick on this, I'm curious to your guys' thoughts, because I think Nintendo is going to 80 this generation, like for the Marios, the Zeldas, and like their big titles they know they can get for that. But do you think there is a world where, because Mario Kart sold as well as it did on the Switch 1, and it had the deluxe edition and the DLC and everything, and they just know they can get this for their big, 60+ million unit seller, the follow-up to that? Do you think there's a world that, because it's also the bundle game with Switch 2, that like Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's a $70 game? Will we still see the majority of first-party Nintendo games be 70, and it's going to be like these rare one-off titles? Because according to Nintendo's own words, they price it on a game-by-game basis, but we also know they kind of stick to that $60 price point most of the time, except for smaller titles like Princess Peach Showtime and the Mario and Donkey Kong remaster and all that stuff. So I don't know. What you guys think? There's a world where we still see most of the games at 70 this gen?
I'm hoping that. I really wish that Nintendo phrased it as, or like position it as, it's $80 because the DLC that we're going to have we're including that in the game.
Yep.
I wish they did it that way. If, that would have been a better way to approach it than that. But I hope in the world everything just stays 70. There's no reason, if there isn't even an extra step up or something of the sort that brings more value to this title than it would have been as a release on the Switch 1, there's no point to do that. Like, Nintendo earned like $11 billion last year. They're not hurting. I don't know.
They got that like cash in the bank too, they're not.
Yeah, I don't know. If
It's
it's first party.
Yeah.
And like, I do agree that like some studios are hurting, in a year where they reevaluate like with costs and everything, but like Nintendo's first party, like they control the game. Like, I don't know. It's bizarre.
The booster course pass, that $25?
25, yeah. Or you got it with the expansion pack, one of the two. So.
Right. So I guess if you bought the game and then you bought the expansion pack or the booster course, it's 85, I guess, for the bundle there. So maybe you're right. Maybe they come up with this direct and like, oh, hey, we're just including this roadmap for like 2 years and all this content, and that's how we're going to justify the 80. I wonder how that would go over with people.
I would like that. Like, if that was like my decision, I would market it that way, because like we're including it in there. Because maybe if you're looking at like who buys the DLC and like the drop off of that with consumers, it would make sense to include it. Then everyone gets the DLC and you just frame it that way so it's more digestible. But just like right now, Sorry, my brain just like stepping into what their marketing shoes of what I would do. Anyways, but for that, it's just I don't know. I really hope it's not weird and mixy matchy, because besides Mario, or Mario Kart, I think we'll probably talk about the other games and the upgrades, right? Am I jumping ahead?
You know what I think? You know what I think? I think it's going to be a test to see with Mario Kart, but like every game's not Mario Kart. Mario Kart sold 70 million. You know, it's a huge. Like you can't if the next Fire Emblem comes out, they're not gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be like, hey, yeah, 80 for Fire Emblem, you know, or something like that. Or the next. I don't know. Some of this, even if it's a big game, that doesn't have the selling power of Mario Kart. I think it's gonna be they're gonna look at the sales and see how it does. They're going to see how many people are buying the bundle. You know, from a marketing perspective, they're going to see how many people are buying the bundle compared to buying that. And they're going to look at it and kind of go appropriately with that. Like the next Zelda game, I mean, yeah, that could be 80 if everything is okay with this Mario. But if Mario Kart, but if Mario Kart doesn't go so well, I think maybe they'll be like, okay, yeah, 70. Look, we never committed to one price. So I think it's really going to be it's really going to be evaluating game by game basis. It's really going to be that. I don't think it's going to be any set type of thing until right up till about when they feel okay, we spent this much time, blah blah blah, we think we can get this. But yeah, because Donkey Kong 70, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think they price the Hyrule Warriors game, but I mean that could be 70, but yeah, we'll see for sure.
My strategy is to buy the bundle.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's crazy that sales determine what we can charge for a game. Oh, this game's popular. Oh, we should sell it for 80 because people fucking buy it. That's crazy.
I know we tee this, but that's what happened with loot boxes. One company tried it out and then they got profits and everyone looked at them and were like, oh shit, we should do that too. And same with cosmetic skins and same with adding on DLC. Consumer buying patterns help shape where the profits are. It's
same with clothes. You can buy a piece of clothes that's the same material. Or how about shoes? How about Jordans? Jordans are the same material as the cheap and ones.
Bro, I wear $30 slip-on lugs.
I know. I'm telling you how marketing is. But
yeah,
Jordan
can literally see. You can literally see a pair of them right there.
No, I'm saying Jordan can charge $100-something to $200 to $300 for his shoes because he's Michael fucking Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Lexus and Toyota cars are the same thing. Just one is called the Lexus, one is called a Toyota, but the Lexus costs $30,000 more.
Exactly. I tried to buy a Lexus F50 or no, the Sport. And I went there, I'm like, hell no, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying for that. It's too expensive. So I said, I'm good. Walked out with the 96 Corolla. Let's go, baby.
There you go, baby.
Well, if you get Mario Kart with the bundle, technically it's $50. So I feel like that's probably going to be the skew that a lot of people aim for.
What? But I mean, then you also have to factor in: is that going to be the one that's manufactured the most, or is the individual system? I think the biggest problem with all of this, and I'm not sure if somebody said it while I was trying to clean, my copy of Toy Story isn't working on my Nomad, and I'm not very happy about it. But I did buy the very expensive Sega Nomad with the screen modification.
How many Mario Karts did that cost you? 2? No.
No, God. Mario Kart's 80. 8. Roughly.
Damn.
Translate that
for a Sega Nomad.
But
damn.
It has the modded.
You should have no problem playing 80 for Mario.
Well, I'm not the average consumer. I mean,
damn, but for a Nomad,
this is a write-off.
I know it is, but
that's the tricked out Nomad. It has all the cool stuff.
That's dope.
Damn, Daniel.
The biggest problem for people is Nintendo's always been the cheaper alternative. And for them to be the ones to start $80 is kind of a bit of a hard pill for people to swallow, I think. And rightfully so, It was definitely a very shocking revelation. Obviously, when you see, we'll talk about with the Switch 1 enhanced versions and then all the drama associated with that. And then you see some third-party games are $40 and some are $60. It's kind of just it's very odd seeing Nintendo be like, yeah, we're gonna start the $80. It's like, okay, all right.
Unless you're talking about not the Super Nintendo era, not the N64 era, because their games were freaking Chrono Trigger was $90 in 1995.
Right, but that was because it cost a hell of a lot more money to make Chrono Trigger
I know.
as far as the production of the cartridge.
And I understand that, but we didn't know that back then. That's all I'm trying to say.
Because there wasn't really a standard back then.
And we didn't know that, and games were expensive as hell.
And video games were a much smaller market as well during then. That was the era where you sold 100,000 copies. You were greenlighting sequels left and right. It was a niche market. Now it's much more larger with different types of consumers and stuff like that. And then the kind of invisible barriers were placed, during the certain eras, and then since they've gone up. But you never saw Nintendo being the one to lead the charge once the barriers, were kind of set in place. Is all I'm saying.
Hopefully it's a one-off, and Mario Kart is the "Hey You Pikachu" of this.
I think it'll be. I think it'll be your like your Metroid. That's not going to be 80 because
big Zelda game though.
Yeah, your Zelda, your Mario Kart, your new 3D Mario. You better get set $80 aside. Well, really $87 with taxes.
Smash Bros. But what happens if the next Gen 10 Pokemon is 80 and they sell 2 copies of it at 80?
They won't because
think about that.
they won't.
Yeah.
As much as that should
They're gonna make
happen.
so much money. Jesus.
Yeah, they won't.
From 2 $40 3DS games,
I didn't even
80
think about
total.
that. I forgot about
80
Pokemon.
and 80.
Easy.
But Pokemon's probably coming next year. So that will be
Yeah.
But there is a rumor that it's going to be on Switch 1 as well.
No, but OJ, recently this was Centro Leaks, which take what you will. I don't think everything they put out there is accurate, but they were pretty sourcing this one, saying that the Terra leak thing that happened that suggested it was a Switch 1 version is not accurate, and that Gen 10 is exclusively for Switch 2.
Okay.
And they're saying Legend ZA will be the last main series Pokemon game on Switch 1. So that's going to be interesting if that checks out. Now that's rumor leak territory. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But with how Nintendo's switching to this generation now, and I don't know, I'd almost be surprised unless it's just I think they're going to make a specific Switch 2 version and market that first. And if it's somehow playable on Switch 1, it's going to be the vastly downgraded version.
Okay, yeah, we'll see for that one because that'll be because the Pokemon Company usually likes to have quite a number of they like to have a big install base before they release the big mainline one. So that'll be interesting for sure.
Well, they did hit us with the price for the hardware as well, along with a bunch of spec rundowns here. So we had 1080p screen, 7.9-inch display. So it's pretty good size actually overall compared to, because people are comparing this to a lot of the PC gaming handhelds. They're looking at the Steam Decks, the ROG Allies and stuff. That'd actually be pretty high up even compared to those. 120 FPS though. It's an LCD, but it has HDR support, full variable refresh rate, actually using G-Sync for it there. NVIDIA put out an entire press release because Nintendo doesn't want to say anything about this. It doesn't want to say anything about the internals of this device, but NVIDIA was like, it's 10 times more powerful than the current Switch. It's like, all right, NVIDIA.
I mean, to be fair though, thanks. John, I was honestly surprised they even mentioned variable refresh rates and HDR and shit like that.
That made it feel like a whole different Nintendo. This was weird to see Nintendo dive into specs and actually show even the resolution expanding from 720p in handheld to 1080p, and then literally the motion of Mario jumping, how many extra frames you get. I was like, what company is this? They'd never do spec stuff like that.
I'm proud of them. For this, they have to differentiate between the consoles. They've learned from past mistakes, with the Wii to Wii U. People confusing, what's the difference? I don't get it. So taking this step and focusing on what's different and what makes it better and why you should have this is important, especially when on consumer minds, people do care about these things. And though Nintendo is not always has never marketed that, to be honest, at this point we have to, because some of the biggest gripes from the Switch 1 were, the frame rate and all the processing issues that were going on because the Switch 1 couldn't handle these games. So it's them showing us, see, we did it this time. We pinky swear. Probably.
256 gigabytes on board storage, fast storage too. So we should see a nice cut down in load times, 3D audio even, which that one caught me off guard a little bit. I mean, I know if you play some of the Switch games now, like Metroid Dread, that does use full surround sound, which is really cool. But that always kind of even surprised me a bit. So when I heard 3D audio, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. The magnetic connection, of course, for the sides, which hands-on, Gene, those don't. I think people heard magnets, they're like, are these things just gonna fall off the Joy-Cons?
No, it's super sturdy. Like
it just snaps right. Okay.
It's sturdy. It won't move. So.
Do you enjoy the click in motion more than the slide on? Like if you just pick one?
Yeah, I think it feels better. Yeah.
Good. That's awesome.
Okay. Good stuff. And they did show off game chat and a camera.
Are we moving off of Mario Kart or?
Yeah, I'm rolling right now. Did you have anything else you want to say about Mario Kart?
I mean, I had hands on with Mario Kart, so.
I thought we were gonna go around.
Every single game like on the list, so I don't know. Like,
all right, hit us with your thoughts on Mario Kart, Gene. I also have Cyberpunk here that I want to hear from you about when we get there too.
Oh yeah. Well, Mario Kart. Here's how the experience went. The first floor is like regular Grand Prix. So like that, like you were mentioning how it was like kind of cordoned off. Like that's where it is. Like where the first floor, this is where you get the regular Grand Prix experience. A lot of people are complaining about the Treehouse experience where you have to like drive to like the next race. That's not the case. That's just optional. You can just play Grand Prix like you always did before. That's no problem. Okay. Second floor was Knockout Tour. So Knockout Tour is basically the open world race where you're basically racing across the entire map. And let me tell you, like people are like wondering like if it's way too different. Play 10 seconds of Mario Kart World and you will know exactly what they're doing. The game is fucking fantastic. You go, you see, this is Mario Kart where you see that mountain, you can drive there now. Wow. Like that's where we're at with Mario Kart right now. This is Mario Kart in the lands between. This is Breath of the Wild of Mario Kart. I went to this. I saw the tallest peak there, and I just drove up there off road. The wheels will change depending on the terrain that you're on, which is really fun. And then there's a ramp right at the top of the top of the ice mountain. So I just decided to jump off, and you just see the entire world right before you. Like the draw distance is crazy. I can see the ghost house all the way in the distance. I can see the ice palace over here in the right. I can see the desert world over here. It's crazy. So it really is like truly Forza Horizon or Breath of the Wild / Mario Kart that we're getting here.
So you're saying this, Gene. You know what I'm thinking? It almost makes me wonder if one of the things they're not telling us about this game, just kind of the way you're describing it, is that there is some kind of an adventure game aspect to it, to where it's not just like it's a racing game, but it's also kind of like an adventure game as well, sort of thrown in there with this open world area. So that would be very interesting if they decided to introduce some kind of like single player, but also multiplayer where other people can drive around the world while you're doing this stuff. Mm-hmm. That because they did tell us about free roam, which I guess they let you just drive around if you wanted to.
Yep. And so there's a question about whether what you can do in free roam. We couldn't figure that out. That right. Wasn't that information, whether it is available, whether it's like, oh, there's secrets, or I would have to guess that's probably a good way to like unlock more characters or more drivers. But like people are saying like, oh, Forza Horizon from 2012. It's like, yeah, but were you driving around the Mushroom Kingdom in Forza Horizon in 2012? Like, are you Mario fans or not? Like if you are a Mario fan, you are literally just driving around on freeways through the Mushroom Kingdom. That's the experience that you're getting here.
So it's I mean, obviously it's not the first game to have an open world like racing game. Like that's not the first
obviously,
one. But for Mario Kart, it's a huge, like if you play Mario Kart, it's a huge like upgrade over like Mario Kart 8, which we've been playing for 11 years. I'm so sick and tired of that game. So I'm ready. I am so tired of that game. I've been playing it since 2014. So I'm looking forward to what you said was pretty exciting, Gene. I do like the open world like aspect and the rail system. Did you get a chance to really do all the tricked out like jump like the wall flips to rails?
Grinding, jumping off walls. That's the thing. So Knockout Tour is crazy because when you're playing it, you are seeing other players like jump across up in the sky. Like they are taking like different lanes of on the race. So you see like you see people over here jumping over here. You see people grinding over here. You see people battling over here. Like it's complete chaos, and it's like the screen is full of players doing different things, and you're all racing to compete. And then like as you're going through the world, when you go through a different region, it's a elimination. The last 4 will cut out, and then now you're down to 20 players, and you go down to 16, you go down to 12. gun at 8, and then that's when the race ends.
You got me hyped, Gene. That's awesome. Yeah,
It's
and
cool.
I think it's a good point to say that we do still have a direct coming for this game, so we don't know a lot about it yet. And if they do a single player adventure mode with like objectives and stuff in free roam, that'd be pretty cool.
So like when I went back to the knockout tour room, like the entire room is cheering and screaming because we're all playing against each other, and like it all looks
cool.
All kinds of shit is happening, and everyone's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. We're all yelling at each other. That's like a classic multiplayer experience right there, So it's fun. It's good times.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. I did bring up the camera, Gene, game chat. That's the whole thing. You said you had a funny story about the
so I didn't get to play game chat because I don't give a shit about Super Mario Jamboree, So I should have tried the camera out, but here's the thing. One of my friends who happens to be black, the camera had a hard time picking them up.
Oh, I can't. I'm dark too, so I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah.
The camera's racist, Gene?
I think we're back in the Connect mode, so I think I don't know. The lighting isn't great in the room, like it's all like red and blue lights or whatever like that, but like it's still pretty well lit, man. So it's like
Dude, there's
a little fuzzy or whatever like that. I just know. I didn't see it. I just heard about it, but it's just funny.
It reminds me of that. Who's played Watch Dogs 2? One of the first missions in Watch Dogs 2, and like his car's talking. It's like, yo, I can't read. I can't see you. It's not time. I can't read what's going on. It reminds me of that.
I hope it's not the case. I hope maybe it was just a shitty camera or whatever like that. But I don't know.
Well, I mean,
again, I wish I tried it out. So that's my bad.
Sunbro and John have no problem, man. They're gonna stand out like, damn. It's gonna be like, yo, look at me.
It'll totally cut out the background perfectly.
Yeah, it's gonna be like shining, bro.
Like perfectly cut out, photoshopped and everything like that.
Yeah,
John's gonna be glowing, man. This shit's gonna be great.
Yeah, now we're just gonna look like what he does right now. So.
I am curious how many people are interested in that camera in the first place. Well, that's the thing. That's like the least interesting part of this.
But they've tied it into a game. They tied it into Country Bear Jamboree now with the new content.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't interested until the Piranha Plant camera got announced, and now it's like, okay, why not? $10 more and you got a Piranha Plant sitting on your living room, Hulk
Hogan's camera.
Oh man,
he's like, all right, brother, this is a great camera. I love what it stands for, brother. It's everything that I need.
It was weird. That was another surreal, like, even though it was so rumored and a lot of the leaks were tied to the C button being tied to some kind of chat function, it was still surreal to see Nintendo spend a decent amount of the direct talking about, like, we're doing live chat. It comes with, like, you can add on a camera, you can see and play with all your friends. And then exactly what I've been saying, and RGT, I watch your videos too. I know you've been saying this, like, the kids have grown up, and the kids that are still playing it, that you want to just wall it off with parental controls. Nintendo doesn't have to overthink this whole like chat is a thing now. People want to talk to each other while they game. It's so good to see Nintendo finally not be like afraid to just like, here it is, and parental controls for if you want to disable it. Simple as that.
Yeah, and you can only use the camera with your friends, so there's no like risk of running into like the weirdos on Discord.
Xbox 360 Uno.
Yeah, yes. No chat roulette or Omegle type of disasters.
Yeah, there you go.
You have to buy in. You have to buy into the degeneracy. So
I'm really proud of Nintendo for bringing in like some form of chat feature and also cam, I guess, because it's cool. Because you think back to like the good old days, like when your friends would come over and you'd play Mario Kart, on the N64, or you'd play it on your SNES, and you just be huddled around the TV. It's the modern way of doing that now. And I'm really proud of Nintendo for getting with the times. And, a lot of kids, from what I know, don't go over each other's houses to play. Like they'll just play online together, and that's their game jam. So it's cool to do that. And also adults, like a lot of my friends, my friends come over and play, but in general, a lot of us play online together, and it's pretty cool.
Speaking of not afraid, they put all those, because you can share your screen with the people. when you're playing.
Mhm.
Nintendo had no problem putting those screens up at like 10 frames a
10
second.
frames a second. I was so proud. I was like, wow, they're not even trying to hide it. That's exactly what it's going to look like.
I mean, they're being straight up with it. I'll give them that.
Yep.
Here it is. The game chat will be free until March 21st, 2026, and I assume then it'll be tied into the online. It'll just become part of their online subscription, which I assume you're using this with multiplayer anyway. Like you're gonna play online with a game. You're using this feature.
Although the feature, you can use it with offline or not off. You can use it with single player games and stuff like
Just by itself and just
yeah. So I mean, I wish it would have been part of like the experience, of just like with the Switch 2 and not tie it to that. So if you just want to play different games, but I mean, it's whatever. I mean, whatever. They have it in there, right? They finally have the chat feature and all that good stuff. It looks very much like Discord. Like in terms of like the layout and stuff like that, people said they needed to incorporate Discord into there, so it looks like that. So that's good. I don't know how much I'm gonna use it, but I'll probably test it out. But
I feel like it'd be good for content creators, right? If you like
not in that frame rate, but I mean like.
I mean, not at that frame. Yeah, I mean, but like Mario Party, like you have like like your friend's face on the screen or whatever like that, and you can watch.
Okay, yes, that would be good. Yes, like the face stuff for like Jamboree. I can see that being. Because like Jamboree, I think that sold like 20 million or something like, or not. Sorry, not Jamboree. Super Mario Party. Mario Party sold like, and then like Jamboree sold like I think like 6 or 7 million. Like it's already doing really well. So people really like Mario Party. Like they really like it. So I'm guessing that's gonna do really well, like parties and people having fun. Like, it's probably gonna be a blast to play. With family
so to jump
friends.
in there, okay. So we're all proud of Nintendo for getting with the times. How do we feel about it's a paywall though?
Yeah, I said I don't like. I said I wish it was just part of the experience. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not great, but for 20 a year, they're still by far above any other console as far as being connected online.
Yeah,
I don't know PlayStation and Xbox. I just pay for this whole for like 20 years, but like, isn't chat and messaging also tied to that there too?
Xbox isn't. I believe PlayStation is.
Okay.
I didn't realize Xbox wasn't. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
Xbox is like, people always forget about Xbox. They basically like all their stuff is actually pretty approachable in terms of money for doing
Xbox.
These,
you can just chat.
Cloud saves are free on there too. Like as a thing.
Cloud saves are free. You free. What was it like? Yeah, the chatting. I mean, obviously the online isn't, but the just like voice chat is. You don't need Xbox Live like to do that. So that's cool.
Cloud saves is like the biggest one that I see Xbox do because for PlayStation, Nintendo, you got to pay their online fee.
That's annoying.
To have cloud saves.
I hate that. Yeah.
Which is so that's the other thing. I mean, they could bring Discord to the Switch too, but basically the way they made this look, it kind of is like that's their Discord. Like I think
it's so integrated. I don't think they will. I think this is their Discord.
Why would they bring a free competitor to something that they can get you to pay for? It just bums me out that the button would do nothing if you don't have NSO.
Yeah, that is kind of weird, right?
NSO. Yeah, it's the first time that they've done something like that where they made something unaccessible.
Physical button tied.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Yeah,
it's
just a whole button taking up space that like I probably won't use it at all. So
you can just use the Switch 1 controller. Bam, you don't got it? Just use the Switch 1 controller for Switch 2 games.
And they announced, for anybody that didn't see it, that all the Switch 1 accessories are compatible wirelessly. So like everything, even the Smash Bros. Wired GameCube controllers with the adapter, like it's like everything.
Good, they better. Like
yes,
it'd be such a waste.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think with Wii to Wii U, you could use Wii remotes. Right, but I don't know if you could use like the classic controllers for the Wii. I mean, maybe not with Switch, not with Wii U games. Like I don't know if you can use like with the Wii U games. You have to like buy the Pro controller, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Something weird like that. And what's interesting is even PlayStation did like where the PS4 controllers would work with the PS5, but only on PS4 games. You had to have and of course DualSense was the advanced haptics and stuff like that. But it was a wall off where you had to play PS5 games with a PS5 controller. Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games can be played with Switch 1 Pro controller or Switch 1 Joy-Cons, which is cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. The button being tied to it is weird. Maybe in Nintendo's mind, it's a button that then takes them to the subscription service for you. So that's how they're looking at it.
Reminds you to buy this.
Money. Give us the money.
I don't know. I'm one of those people that keep my consoles like forever. Like I have all of my consoles still. I've never sold or traded in or any of that. And I'm just like thinking down the line, I'm just going to be so actively annoyed by this useless button when they shut down the servers and it's just there. I don't know. That ties into other things though, what they're doing with this generation. So
What do you guys feel about the 450 price tag on the system? With the dock, the handheld.
You know what?
Everything comes in the box.
I thought the sweet spot would be $399, but I didn't know exactly how the specs were going to turn out. But now that they talked about the specs and they showed off kind of how it is, like I think that it's not bad for, you know, like the 120 frames. Like you can play like Metroid Prime 4 like at 4K 60. Like that's never been Nintendo, right? Like that's never been, like, even with the game, like that's a Switch 1 game. Even when they've had older games come to their newer platforms, it's not like you can do that. Like Mario Kart 8, you can't play that like at 4K or whatever on the Switch, right? From Wii U. So to me, like that's pretty good. I do like that. But yeah, 450s, I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's too bad for what you get, like how, like the quality of the screen and like the size of it and like the features.
When you think about it, the older 350, which is a much weaker system. So like only charge, like I thought it was gonna be $400 too, but then when I thought about it, I was like charging $50 more for everything that you get with the Switch 2. That doesn't make any sense. So I think 450 makes a lot more sense for sure.
You keep in mind that we're getting a backwards compatible console, and to Nintendo's credit, not everything is free upgrades, but they already have a round of a lot of free upgrades for different Switch 1 games, Scarlet and Violet being one of them. So the point that just the idea with that is like you have a depth of library that's there day one for this new piece of hardware that also I didn't buy into a lot of, like, even though they were coming from credible sources, that 120 hertz screen, I was very surprised to actually see confirmed. There was, and then 1080p and Cyberpunk, like, I know not everybody's going to be happy with it, but like 7 weeks of development and it's running at like 40 frames per second with the VRR in performance mode. I mean, we're getting a pretty notable jump forward in power, and it plays all of our Switch 1 games, and a lot of them are already going to be upgraded and it's going to be better. So I think that did help their case, but I don't think Nintendo was proud of that 450 price because it wasn't in the direct, as you guys know. Everybody was scouring online afterwards. Like, I think they did want to launch this thing at $399 if they could have pulled it off.
If it was $399, that would definitely have been in the show.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quick question. Wait, where did they announce that they were going to upgrade Scarlet and Violet? Or am I just forgetting that?
No, they didn't announce
Not
it
in the direct, but it's a web page.
There's a web page, and there's like 12 games, I think, starting out, and there's probably going to be more added. So it's like Mario Odyssey. I think it's like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. There's more like Big Brain Academy. Did I say ARMS already? There's ARMS. There's like a number of games that are going to be upgraded.
Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Link's Awakening, and Echoes of Wisdom.
Yes, those are the two ones. Yes,
those are great. I mean, because they
Echoes of Wisdom.
The frame rate in Echoes of Wisdom in the overworld was ridiculous.
I'm going to sound like a negative Nancy. Okay, I'm very excited for the Switch 2. Okay, guys. Man, I'm just grumpy about this. So I'm just annoyed because we were promised a like an upgrade or whatever. Not upgrade, like a patch or a fix or something for the performance issues on Violet. And then they're like, wait. I
told you what the upgrade. I told you what it was.
Yeah.
It's the Switch 2.
Yeah, great. I love that.
You know what the funny thing is, though, John? That was already leaked. The upgrade and all that was already leaked with someone who said all this, I think, in 2023. And then we first see it here, and it's like, oh yeah, you get Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like, I guess it's gonna be, I don't know what they're gonna run it at, but maybe it'll be like 1080p 60 or something, you know?
But like,
you just gotta buy the Switch 2.
The thing is I'm so annoyed because, okay, if it was like a noticeable upgrade where like, wow, they improved the graphics and it was, off the base game that already functioned how it should, that makes sense. And I think that is really cool. But if it didn't function how it was supposed to on the original, that's not an upgrade. That's just treating me like a sucker. I don't know. I feel like it's not.
I'm with you on Scarlet and Violet specifically, but the list of other games that Nintendo could have just ignored. I don't like it. They didn't have to go do Echoes of Wisdom and make it run better, but the fact that that's happening, I see that as added value. And I think, but my point with bringing that up is I don't think it stops at the free games they've announced so far. No. I think they will. Yeah, they'll continue to do more of the back catalog for Switch 1, which is good.
If it's like that, then I'm very happy with that. But it's just kind of one of those things where I was like, I was
Scarlet
promised
Violet,
that.
No excuse
I
for that
bought
game.
Scarlet. Well, not Scarlet. I bought Violet. And I love that game, but yeah, there were definitely some issues with it that I was really hoping and defending this game.
$150 later, we're going for that clean 30 FPS. We'll get there.
Man.
We'll get there, Game Freak. We'll get there. But
60 for Pokemon Legends ZA? No.
yeah. Okay. The Switch 2 it's so good. It's overcoming Game Freak right now. That's not bad.
I mean...
It's not bad. $450 for this device with the dock, the Joy-Con stuff. That's actually a good price. I know people are really, really annoyed at that $80 price or the weird fabricated phantom $90 price that's everywhere. But the $450 price is actually good. People keep comparing it to the ROG Ally X, and then everyone realizes how much that handheld costs. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's $800. So
that's not your price point to.
Maybe this is not a terrible price.
I hate when people bring up ROG. Nobody's buying that shit.
Even the Steam Deck, which is the biggest competitor, if you can compare it, is like what, 3 million? I mean, it's not even on the same scale. And you're not going to get this performance at this price point from any handheld PC. I don't think.
Well, the Steam Deck, I mean, the Switch 2 is just more capable outright than the Steam Deck. Like
right.
I at times I think you get comparables to them. I don't think it'd be that close.
That's not what Jez Corden said from Windows Central. He said it's Steam Deck's way better.
That's
just something not true. So
I would ask people to dock their Steam Deck and try to play some of these games first. And then,
if you never docked your Steam Deck before, that's not true. It's simply not true. So,
and developers are optimizing for this one system. It's such a difference compared to how. I mean, I know they optimize for Steam Deck specifically as well, but it's still, we're going to get so much better performance out of this thing.
I think we're seeing comparisons now, and I think people are a little surprised at how it's holding up. So, like Street Fighter 6 in particular seems to be surprising a lot of people right now.
They were saying better than the Series S version. I read. Did you look into that at all, John?
I saw a little bit of that.
It's
too,
better than the Series S version. Yeah, I think Cyberpunk looks better too on the Switch 2 compared to the Series S. Although Cyberpunk looked pretty bad on the Series S. So
I never saw it on the Series S. To be honest, I put it on the PS4 Pro or no PS5. I think I just played on PS5. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, so they've kind of moved now, the Switch 2, kind of getting more comparisons to like the PS4 Pro and the PS5. Although the PS4 Pro isn't even a great comparison because that uses a mechanical hard drive, so load times are just going to be longer because of that on it. So it's a wide range. It's somewhere between the PS4 and the PS5. So there you go.
Yep.
That's the best explanation for it. Let's move over to a few of the games here that I picked out. Gene, you played Cyberpunk?
I sure did.
I feel like that was a pretty impressive game to have there. They said how long? 7 weeks for
7 weeks. 7-week-old build. So very, very crunchy still, but the demonstration they had, and people forget, Phantom Liberty is a next gen, well, quote unquote next gen, current gen exclusive content only. Doesn't work on PS4, doesn't work on Xbox One, but there it was. You're right there in Dogtown with all the weird, crazy effects going on right there, and it runs pretty solid from 30 frames and some drops or whatever like that. Again, it's a 7-week-old build, but I just try to break it. I of course I played Cyberpunk for thousands of hours, so it's like all I did was just run around and start shooting people and try to cause as much as mayhem and crashes as much as I can, and it was holding up just fine, and it looks way better than it does on the Steam Deck. I can guarantee you that. So
7-week build. I'm actually curious because they went back and patched like Witcher and stuff over time. I remember that got a lot of patches, but in general, I wonder if they end up getting this thing to 60 at some point, and it's just in its development with patches. If it's 7 weeks, if it's like a 7-week build.
I think they said they've got it right now going at about performance mode 40 frames or 30 quality performance 40. So I mean it's possible. We'll see what they do with it over the course of it.
That's another cool thing with the VRR to see them target something like 40 and say that's what it's going to run at, because it's just it's nice to have that. It doesn't have to be 30 or 60. You can do 40 and it's a nice middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll divide evenly into the 120 screen as well with VRR. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. That'll actually look pretty good in handheld mode there.
Yeah, I mean, I did see some background elements in the game where it's a little the frame rates were 15 or whatever, 25,
right?
Or whatever like that, but that's all the way in the background, it's NPCs. So
little tricks. Yeah,
yeah.
Did you play Metroid Prime 4?
I
Gene?
sure did. Played it like 3 times, dude.
Oh, how you
I'm
feeling,
excited to hear
man?
about this.
Man, so a lot of people are worried about like the mouse controls. I can tell you 100% that the mouse controls are 1-to-1, just like your PC mouse, straight up.
Wow.
Just works like a PC
Okay.
mouse. I have a video on my Twitter where you can see I was playing the Welcome Tour game, and I have a lot to say about that. But the Welcome Tour game, like it has a game where it shows you the mouse controls. It is just 1-to-1 movement, very slight and everything like that. So the demo in Metroid Prime 4 ends with a boss that has like weak spots all over its body, and it has shields on its arms, and it's like moving like all of the shield all over its body while it's like also firing like all kinds of shit at you. So like, I'm using the left thumbstick to move around and like lock on while I'm using the mouse here, and it's an incredible experience where I'm just like air dashing and strafing and making sure I'm doing precision aiming like as I'm jumping around in the air, and I'm making the shots perfectly. I'm switching to missiles and hitting that. I'm switching to the morph ball mode, and I'm like rolling around during that. It's extremely elegant, and it works exactly like you would expect, basically.
They have you playing at 4K 60 with that?
It was 1080 120 for.
Oh, I see. I know. I'm sure the higher frame rate and stuff for the mouse controls is good. I've been interested to see it in like the quality mode, just to see how. I mean, I'm sure it looked good in performance mode, but
yeah. And like the presentation, I'm a huge fan of Metroid Prime 3. I love that game. So the presentation really starts off like Metroid Prime 3, where it's like all kinds of chaos. Like you see a big like Doomslayer robot like roaming through the streets and everything like that. Like one of the big Titan robots. So it really honestly kind of reminded me of Doom. Honestly, the way like how fast the action was, and the way you're really just trying to pinpoint different areas to shoot. I can definitely see it. There wasn't any kind of motion control kind of thing going on, though. There wasn't like any kind of Metroid Prime 3 where flinging the thing and pulling stuff out. Like none of that was there. It's mostly just you're aiming. It's a first-person shooter. You are aiming and locking on and shooting. So.
And I heard, is it true you can just like as soon as it registers, you go in mouse mode, you can seamlessly go back?
Seamlessly.
That's crazy.
There's
no menu.
I'm going like that, and if I get tired, I'm just going like that. I'm just playing it like I was Metroid Prime Remastered 1. Which controlled beautifully, right? So
yeah,
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't think I'd be interested in mouse mode so much, but hearing people talk about it and the fact that you can go in and out of it whenever you want, that's kind of cool. Do you
I think
feel
mouse
like
mode is actually my favorite thing about Switch 2, actually.
Do you think that like, in your opinion, that boss fight you mentioned, do you feel like it was designed with mouse mode in mind for Metroid Prime 4? Like, I wonder how early they knew about this and shifted some of the gameplay stuff.
I wonder about that too. It really does feel like I had a harder time playing in regular mode, and then once I played it in mouse mode, I'm like, because I prefer controller, but I used to play Counter-Strike, not professionally, but I used to try to train professionally in Counter-Strike, and it was just like, oh, this is just better. It's just I'm just aiming better, and I beat the boss like way faster that way. So,
nice.
Okay, it looked sharp though, visuals and everything.
Yeah, very sharp.
Yeah.
Very sharp.
That's
great.
it. Came through pretty well in the Treehouse
Yep.
too. That's I think like the best looking game so far they've shown is that in terms of just the visuals.
Yeah, it's definitely besides Mario Kart World 1. I mean, Metroid Prime, Donkey Kong, and Mario Kart World are 3 marquee titles, and I'm looking forward to all 3. So
the only thing that's unfortunate, I think that could have worked still as like a launch title or something close to launch.
Yeah.
Because Mario Kart is, a lot of people look at that as a multiplayer game. Metroid's like that single player, like isolated, in this case, like a graphical showcase for the system. They could have got. I feel like they could have gotten away with that, even if it released the following month, like where DK is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised too, after seeing that it is a cross-gen title. A lot of the rumors were that maybe it would be the launch game in addition to Mario Kart, because then you have one single player and one multiplayer focused game. It makes so much sense. I'm really surprised it's not.
Yeah, because I'm ready to play the game. I mean, it looks awesome.
Yeah,
like, that's the one I'm really looking forward to. Is that
I didn't know if they would have it there at launch because they didn't date it, so maybe it could have been, but they didn't give it a date. But then again, that might lead to say, oh well, the date's gonna be the same day as the Switch 2 launches. There's some pretty big. I mean, Cyberpunk's coming at launch, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so Cyberpunk's or maybe they're trying to look. Hey, don't get Metro, your single player game. Get Cyberpunk instead. Because I'm guessing Nintendo's helping out with that with the cart. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I thought it has to be right for a 64 gig cart. Otherwise, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
didn't they do that with The Witcher?
they did subsidize The Witcher. Yes,
32 gigabyte card on that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
which you can count on one hand how many times there's like a 32 gigabyte card like on Switch. Like it's so rare to see that. I don't think we're gonna see a ton of 64 gigabyte cartridges.
No. Yeah, I wonder
And
if it's because it's a launch game, you know?
Yeah. That version of the game on Steam though is like $80 something.
What? I thought it's cheap. I thought you can get the game for cheap.
No, not that one. That has Phantom Liberty as well.
I
The
read
Ultimate
that
Edition,
too, that it's at 80 on Steam.
$85 or something.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, $80 video games. How can we get here?
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't
I mean,
know.
I can look it up. I can look it up right now. Cyberpunk.
Everybody told me Steam, you get everything for $2 on Steam. Okay, I really thought it was.
Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition.
It's on
It's 8%
sale.
off as
Yeah.
an odd thing, but it's $82.78.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
There you go. You can get it
Well,
for
I bought it
cheaper
for
on
I bought it
Nintendo.
for $5.
I mean,
bought it
you know,
for
to be
$5
fair,
on
I'm
Xbox.
going to be playing more Cyberpunk on PC because like mods, right? Like,
Mhm.
you know,
Oh yeah, mods.
you know, I still love my Steam Deck because mods, and you can, but I'm like, you know, I'm a slightly more sophisticated PC user than your average console player, so not quite as much as RGT, but
Steam does have sales, you're right. But some people mentioned you can go to like, I don't know, one of the websites that sells the keys, and it's like $50 something there. I mean, if you go off platform, technically you could just rent Cyberpunk through GameFly or something on the Switch too. So
or on GOG. I just want to say GOG.
Or on-
So
yeah. What about DK, Gene?
I played that
Played
twice.
Bonanza? Oh, wow, okay.
I saw
Okay, how's it-
Rogers Base play it live, so I actually got to see a live Rogers Base reaction to Donkey Kong Bonanza.
That game looks good though. It does, like the destruction, the the interactive environments. I think that stuck out to everyone. I was probably even Sean thought it looked incredible when they were showing it.
Red Faction Gorilla.
Sean
as
hates
someone
everything.
I don't hate everything.
Now I think DK looks the Red Faction comparisons. I saw that a lot because
Yeah.
you're just punching through the ground
Hulk
and like
Ultimate
making your own
Destruction.
like.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Yeah, it reminded me of that
One, too?
a little bit. Yeah.
That's a good one too. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. People are trying to figure out who's making it, and
Mario
they're kind
Odyssey
of
team,
some
right?
It's
Yeah.
got to be
Some are
Mario
wondering
Odyssey
if
team.
it's Odyssey.
Yeah.
Some are like, well, no, they're probably working on like a big 3D Mario game. It'd be weird
No.
if they were working on this.
They did both. There's a reason why we didn't get another Mario game in the Switch 2 era. It's been 8 years since Mario
Mhm.
Odyssey. They did both. They definitely took 3-4 years on one game, then spent another 3-4 whatever years on the Mario.
Nintendo was asked
Yeah,
about it.
I think they did
said-
both.
They said check the credits when it comes out.
This hasn't been
That was the
confirmed.
answer.
This hasn't been confirmed yet either. But there were code names we were talking about from Midori that leaked out. Like, and one of them was Silver Star, and people were trying to figure out what it was. It's tied to the Mario Odyssey team, according to them a while back. All their other code names checked out, like the Edward, Richard, or whatever. Like, it's really like down the rabbit hole of leaks and stuff. But I think this might be Silver Star, and if you know, so it's probably the Mario Odyssey team's like. It's their version of DK, which is like crazy that we're getting that, and it's crazy that Nintendo's giving us that as like the second game following Mario Kart, and they're not talking about 3D Mario right now, because I thought for sure that was the plan. Like 3D Mario is going to be the big show closer, and I was even thinking it was 3D Mario until DK smashed through and made his appearance. So cool.
I mean, people are saying no Diddy, no Funky, and it's like, dude, we've seen like 15 minutes of the game, guys.
Yeah,
It's a
they
massive
gotta
game. They're not gonna like start throwing out
Is
every
Cranky-
single
Cranky's
character.
in there,
You
though,
want to
right?
see what the last boss looks like right now? Dude, guys,
And Nintendo always
out.
shows us the very beginning of games. Like you realize that after all the trailers you see over time, and like most of the time we're always looking at most of the beginning of the game.
I hope Lanky Kong is there. I'm just throwing that out there.
I want
I
Diddy.
love him.
I want Diddy Kong and I want Dixie in the game. I
Funky.
want those
I
two.
want
Yeah.
Funky there too. Funky
Oh,
Kong, that's the
Chunky.
boy.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, so the controls are really intuitive, where B, the bottom button, is punch down, and X is punch up, basically, And then
Okay,
Y is like grab and like all kinds of other stuff, and A is jump.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And it just feels really good. Like it's like the rumble and everything like that. It just feels really, the impact and everything like that. Like just know that it's like very like stress relieving, at least.
I would say, it looks that they were mentioning that it was awesome to be able to just punch through the walls and
Yep.
stuff. It's very satisfying, just basically destruction everywhere. So
Yep. And then what's
looks
crazy is
cool.
that you can just make your own like road like underground. Like you can, it's honestly kind of like Minecraft, where you can just like dig down and just create the whole pathways underneath. And there's all kinds of
It looks
treasures
so
and shit
cool,
down there,
man.
too.
I'm jealous. I mean, I grew up growing up, back in the 90s and even 80s. Like DK was just so like the Super Nintendo, right? Like Donkey Kong Country was just it was huge. They were selling what 8 million carts back then. They were selling like 8, 5, 8, 9. They were selling so much, and Donkey Kong was such a prevalent part of that. And then it just kind of like went away a little bit. We got DKC Tropical Freeze and we got DKC Returns, but really, in terms of 3D, there's been like nothing outside of 64. There's been nothing that's been like a hit with Donkey Kong. So to see this come back and it looked like incredible, I was very happy to see that finally.
Hey, Gene, real quick question. In the trailer, they showed a part that was like 2D for a second. It looked like it was like a tropical freeze. I was gonna ask you. I wondered if that was like a level that you got to play, or if that's just like a really quick, like transition that they do it for a minute and it goes back to 3D. Like, I'm curious how they're going to incorporate that 2D.
No, a lot of the demos are timed, so like you'll play for like 10 minutes and they're like, "Thanks for playing," and you can like play again, but like you're really just playing like the first level.
It might be like you guys remember like the levels in Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2?
Mm-hmm.
I wondered that. Yeah, or you just get like a 2D level.
Yeah, or that new Donk City finale level in Odyssey. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Could you tell if it's a hub world that you're going to different levels, or does it seem all connected? From what
I don't know.
Okay.
It might seem connected because you just get dropped in and like you're just in the big old world right there. So
okay, nice.
Oh,
What
I'm
about
so
this?
excited.
What about this? The welcome tour, Gene.
yeah. So what's funny is that every time I tried it, they kept saying like every 5 minutes, "We don't have a price yet. We don't have a price yet." I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. Like, can I just like play real quick? Like, I don't need to know the price. I just want to demo it. When I'm playing it, I'm definitely thinking, yeah, this should have been free.
Okay, that's what everyone figures. Everyone thought it was a packing game until they said it's going to cost money.
It's it's called Welcome Tour.
Yeah,
it's called Welcome Tour.
It's a preloaded piece of software if there was ever supposed to be one.
I would call it Digital Foundry, the video game, basically.
Oh yeah, 'cause somebody said that you guess frame rates at one point.
Yep. So there's a ball, like they'll bounce a soccer ball across the screen, and then the ball will be like, and then it'll be like, and then another ball will be like, and it's like, which one is 20 frames per second and which one is 120 frames per second, and you're just like, oh, I guess this one, So.
I guess this one.
It gets harder once you get to 60 and 120, of course, and then you're like, okay, so that obviously gets more fun. But as you're solving these demonstrations of figuring out what's the difference between 60 frames per second bouncing ball and 120 frames per second bouncing ball, you get medals, and then you unlock like harder challenges to do, and you get more medals. And by unlocking these medals, you continue through the tour. Basically, you're continuing your tour with the Switch. And then there was the mouse demo where you moved a little UFO around and a bunch of spike balls are falling, and you have to navigate through that. And then once you finish that, like you beat it in 20 seconds, or you last for 20 seconds, and then you last for 50 seconds, and those are 2 medals. You unlock stage 2 of that, where you have to catch stars as the balls are falling. So you have another goal and everything. So there's escalating layers of difficulty there. And then the fun one is when you play Super Mario Brothers 1, the original game, in 4K, and the game is like this tiny.
That's crazy. I saw that one. Yeah.
Really, it's the craziest way I've ever had to play Mario, where it's just super tiny. I'm just like, this is incredible. This is kind of cool. I don't know if it should cost money. If it costs any more than $5 or $10, then I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but
it just would have been a great opportunity to just put as a pack in. Like,
it should have been free. It should have been free. It's not. It doesn't feel like a robust enough experience. Like everyone's saying Astro's Playroom. I was like, yeah, Astro's Playroom is a lot fucking cooler than Welcome Tour, to be quite honest.
But if it's gonna be weirder if it's $10. Then it's like, did you really need the couldn't you just like load it on every system on the way out the door?
$5 or $10, right? Yeah, So I don't know. There was only like 4 demos that we can play, so I don't know like the full breadth of the experience. Maybe there's all kinds of gameplay experiences that we don't know yet, right? But right now it really is just like a demo of like, here's like there's a fireworks mode, right? And then so you can press R to shoot up a bunch of fireworks, and they're very colorful. And that's to show off like the HDR. So you can turn HDR and SDR on and off. You can tell on the difference on the screen, handheld mode or on the TV, like how colors are popping. So it's very like rudimentary, baby's first oh, I'm learning about HDR and SDR, and I'm really learning about the frame rates, and I'm learning about resolutions, all this stuff that doesn't really matter to us because we already know all the lingo and everything like that. But that's why it's like it should have been free. So
At least throw it in NSO,
You explained why it should just be as a pack-in,
Yeah.
And
that
about
is
it is
one
that
part of the outrage besides the $80. Where I'm just like, I totally agree. I don't think it should be charged.
I read,
like to John's points, it would be weird if it would just charge for $5. It's like you couldn't spare $5 for this. Come on, man.
And I think the reason people think it's that cheap is because I thought I read a headline somewhere that they did the yen conversion because like in yen they already like said how much it costs or something like that, and it is like $5-10 US. So like what are they doing? Just throw it in there. I don't know. I'll probably still buy it though.
I'll still buy it.
That's
not gonna lie.
No, I mean it looks like it's gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it yet. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna buy it. But I mean, it looks cool. It just would have been nice to just throw it in there. But
it's definitely cooler than 1-2 switch.
Yeah. It's more. I mean,
I would have nothing to do with the 1-2 switch or 1-2-3 switch or whatever they would have ended up calling it. But this one, it seems. I think this is kind of like the younger developers' minds too. Don't you guys think that? Like it seems like these younger developers that even presented at the direct and everything, like the hardware guys. Like it just seems it's starting to feel like this is becoming a different Nintendo. Which is
big shirt guy.
Yeah,
the big shirt.
The big shirt, dude. His dude, I met him in person, man. Like his jacket is like massive, man. It's crazy, dude. Like
big. Is that what y'all call him? Big shirt boy.
Yeah,
big boy.
Kawamoto is his name, I think.
I've never seen those guys before, so it was cool to see somebody different. But yeah, I mean Furukawa, he's running things differently. But like you said, they have to explain why the system is going to be the price that it is and some of the stuff. And I don't know if you guys saw the article. I'm pretty sure, John, you did. Did you see what Nintendo said about Switch 1? How they felt that sometimes they couldn't create what they wanted to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think explaining that obviously would be a thing.
It was kind of weird to me that Furukawa wasn't in the direct.
It would have been cool if he was.
I kind of felt like he would have opened and been like, "Yo, this is it." The Switch. It just seems
for some
strange.
reason they're really pushing those 3 developers. Nintendo really wants people to know like these are the guys that make your Switch 2.
Furukawa does not care. He's not a people person. He doesn't like any of us. He hates all of us. That's why it's $80.
Yeah, he's Japanese Jim Ryan,
Yeah,
so.
dude, we've literally never seen. I think he did like one interview where he got a haircut after everybody roasted his bowl cut, and then like that's the last time we've seen the dude. We ain't seen him since then. He got a haircut, still your girl. Then we've not seen him since then. So yeah, that's it.
Let's actually move over. For last thing here, I did want to touch on before we talk about the delay of the pre-orders. GameCube NSO.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
This is a big deal.
Okay.
Woke Celia up there.
I've been waiting, guys.
Well, GameCube is coming.
Busted out like Rita from Power Rangers. Like, I'm back.
It's emerged from my shell. Sorry, John. I rudely interrupted you.
No, you're fine. Well, GameCube is coming to NSO for the Switch 2 specifically. That'll be on launch June 5th. They have 3 games right away: Zelda Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, Soul Calibur 2. And then they have 7 games that'll follow, maybe through the rest of this year, maybe early 2026. Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Super Mario Strikers, which was there at the Treehouse, and they kind of were like, don't look at that. We don't know why that's there. So that's probably the first one that's going in. Chibi Robo, Plug Into Adventure, Luigi's Mansion, then Pokemon Coliseum. Okay, Celia.
Luigi's Mansion 1, baby.
Okay. I am so happy that we're getting this with like Soul Calibur, Coliseum, Gale of Darkness. I love Gale of Darkness. Path of Radiance, not enough people played that. Chibi Robot, Wind Waker. Okay, so now I have my wants because I'm really excited about that. I think that's really cool. Give us Twilight Princess. Give us Master Quest. That doesn't get brought up that much on GameCube, but
Skies of Arcadia. Just got to throw that out there.
Scars of Arcadia. Agreed. Tales of Symphonia. Beautiful Joe. 4 Swords.
Oh, Beautiful Joe, yes.
Beautiful Joe.
1 and 2. Beautiful Joe, 1 and 2.
Of course. You
Yes.
need both of them. It's illegal not to have both. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Phantasy Star, Simpsons Hit and Run. I like the PS2 version better, but I will take Hit and Run on any version of it. Star Fox Adventure. There are so many cool GameCube games that haven't seen the light of day since the early 2000s. And
It's almost like GameCube's
I'm so
better than a
excited.
certain system that came before it.
You know, that's a really
It's almost like GameCube's a bit better.
you know, I'm not going to compare because Nintendo 64 is my first love and the GameCube does have a handle. But like, it's just one of those things where there are so many great games, and Melee would be cool. They would never do that though. But like, you know, there's
they will
so
never.
many.
You know that
No,
They'll
they
keep that
wouldn't.
off out of spite.
you know that they built Melee, and then Furukawa came down and then just like killed that
Look,
man.
I want Melee, but
Get
I
out.
want
Public
Melee, but
execution.
I don't want to
Yeah.
give nothing to that crusty ass Melee community. So screw it. I'll give
Okay.
nothing to they
Guys.
deserve nothing.
Well, that's probably what he said. It's like those smelly people don't
That
deserve
Melee
this.
community-
You should-
and
you
I-
should buy
That's
Ultimate.
the Nintendo
Screw
quote.
all of them,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
deserve absolutely freaking nothing.
Melee might not be coming, but Double Dash is, and that is a
Well,
big
if the
one.
Melee
to me.
community likes
Yeah.
Double Dash, screw that game too. It shouldn't
Yeah.
come either.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, I'm a Double Dash fan, so
Okay,
yeah,
I'm obviously joking with the Double
yeah.
Dash thing, but
Yeah.
I'm not
Here's
joking with
online
the
play.
Melee.
also
You have a
smelly
lot of
Double
hate in
Dash
your
fan,
eyes,
so.
though, as you joke.
I'm
that.
curious about Double Dash because that's one of the
I'm not
few
going to say what I
GameCube
truly feel about them here.
That's one of the few GameCube games that uses a broadband adapter, so you can do 8 GameCubes and 16 people technically.
That's right. That's
So
crazy.
I
wonder if
wonder
Nintendo will do that.
they would do. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a
hard to
fun thought,
say.
though. That's a fun thought. If they did that, that would be crazy. I can't believe Prime 2's not in there, though. I thought for sure, at least whenever, GameCube games are coming over, they'll give us Prime 2 before, but in Prime 2, but obviously, then it's like, where's 3? And they're not announcing Wii yet. So,
Do you think that's
who
why they
knows?
haven't announced the release date for Metroid Prime? Metroid Prime 4 is because they're going to do Prime 2 and 3. I guess like
I
this is a
wonder.
drop,
Yeah.
I
Ah.
think that's a very good point, OJ. Because
okay.
with Nintendo's marketing in general, from what I've observed, they tend to like to have opportunities for you to experience, if they're releasing a sequel, to be able to experience the first one. Otherwise, they won't consider it because, you don't get that. And then there's the consumers feeling like they're missing out. And so having that drop like that, the one thing that contradicts that is Metroid Prime 4, because it's the fourth one, but where are the other games? So for it to drop like that, that is pretty plausible. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. That's a great point. That's what
Pikmin.
happened.
3 is a Wii game, and we don't have Wii games.
That's why they would have to do it like a collection. It would have to be a Pikmin 1 and 2 situation where in the lead up to Pikmin 4, they just shadow drop it at a direct. So that's what they would have to do with Prime 2 and 3 instead
So
of the
it's not on
GameCube
NSO?
NSO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they sell it for $40 combo pack or something like that, and it's
Maybe
just
a June
HD
Direct?
upres. Yeah,
Can I-
June Direct or September. I wonder if we're getting a June Direct. I would hope we are, but who knows?
Can I real quick express my disappointment in this announcement? Because first of all, I like to own these games instead of rent them through NSO.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, and Monkey's Paw curling for Wind Waker because I love the original GameCube style better than the HD style. I think it looks cooler, right? But the HD version had all those upgrades for the fucking boat speed and
That's
the fucking,
true.
like
Yep.
the Triforce quests being
Triforce
shaped down a
pieces at
little
the
bit.
end.
Yeah, much
So,
better.
and it's
quality
like
of
I'm
life.
not like I'm super looking forward to replaying Wind Waker, but I'm not really looking forward to the having to re-steer the boat.
I'm not looking forward to playing Wind Waker on the GameCube again. I'm really because the Wii U and I've already beat it so many times. What I'd like to see is like the Beautiful Joe 1 and 2, like those
For sure.
like Skies of
Yeah.
Arcadia,
For
stuff like that to me is like really exciting. The stuff that really has never gotten a re-release. Skies of Arcadia never gotten a re-release in any form. Same thing with Beautiful Joe, never gotten a re-release. They've done nothing, so it would be awesome if they can have those games on here.
So I'm somebody, and it came up in one of the super chats I'm sure we'll get to later on, but I've reported on like every Wind Waker minute rumor in the whole lead up over all the years of my channel. I am excited to replay Wind Waker on Switch or Switch 2, but I am disappointed and let down that even though there are certain GameCube games that have 16:9 aspect ratio, Wind Waker is not one of them. And this is confirmed on the hands-on stuff. You cannot put this game in widescreen. I wouldn't have been like all the quality of life stuff was nice in the Wii U version, but there's going to be something that really breaks me about looking at two big black bars on the sides and getting it to a 4:3 aspect ratio whenever it looks so much better in 16:9 on a large TV or in handheld mode. So that part is the only thing I'm conflicted on with Wind Waker, but otherwise, obviously, I love that it's coming.
Yeah.
Well, maybe maybe next year they'll hit you with the Twilight Princess Wind Waker collection limited time for no reason.
Yeah, and maybe throw it on
And take
Switch
it away.
1. Maybe throw it on Switch 1 because GameCube games are exclusive to Switch 2, so that it could still make sense for Nintendo to throw out some extra Switch.
Shut up.
And they
That
can
could be a
tell us
crazy way
the
to do it.
upgrade for 10. I like
Yeah.
to think. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, that's smart, dude.
Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, too, guys. Did you notice that not the GameCube controller? VGC put out an article. So there's a wireless GameCube controller that Nintendo's selling. It says they're only selling it initially to people who pre-order the console. Now, I think they can only verify that if you're pre-ordering the console from Nintendo. So that's going to be a interesting controller to get your hands on for a while.
What was it back when the NES or when they were scalped the hell and back?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
And is that like trying to get rid of the scalpers?
The N64 controller you couldn't get until well after a year from when it dropped, as far as easily picking it up. So it's going to be a mess.
Gosh. I don't want to too many games and selling that thing for like $200.
Yeah, no doubt.
Man. Well, that was a lot of the Switch 2 stuff, but of course, after all of that's dropping, everybody's trying to put out videos, trying to wrap their heads around all of this. All of a sudden, we can't pre-order the thing, or at least not on April 9th. And,
hey, John, real quick. Can I just say one last thing on games? Because I know we're going to probably do the rest of it with that. I don't know if anybody else was as shocked as I was. And for anybody that doesn't know, my channel name is Sunbro is a reference to Dark Souls because it's the Warriors of Sunlight. FromSoft not only opened up the third-party portion of this event with announcing that Elden Ring is coming with the Tarnished Edition, which is Shadow of the Erdtree DLC included. It might only be a physical key game card, which is a problem, but whatever. It has all the DLC, everything for $70. But then who had on their bingo card a From Software exclusive 2026 The Blood Dusk, game showing up at a Switch 2 Direct?
The Dust Bloods from Soft,
yeah,
right? PvE.
Yes.
So it's a multiplayer, almost like Battle Royale stuff. I'm not really.
Yeah,
they're trying to
8
explain it a
players
bit.
this time.
Miyazaki apparently is directing this, which is surprising. That dude's doing it. I'm curious if he's actually directing it or if he's like kind of directing it. Someone else is there and he's signing off on things because he does all.
He's Kojima directing it, like with Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Is it like that type of directing?
Well, the Night Rain, he handed off to somebody who was working under him very closely, and it's like the first time he's letting somebody else direct it. So, I mean, he's probably doing the same thing with somebody else in this game, but he's still kind of at the helm officially. But yeah, it was an interesting one.
Apparently, it was supposed to be a Switch game.
And then and then during the
over.
development, they realized, hey, let's target this for Switch 2. And so it looks. I mean, the Bloodborne aesthetic to it, like I really was like questioning for a minute. Are they going to like have some type of different title? But it's obviously Bloodborne 2, and it wasn't that. And obviously, these multiplayer FromSoft games, like I did the network test for Night Rain, super fun. But it is a different style thing than what most of the core Souls fans look for. So, it'll be, I don't know. It's really surprising to me that Nintendo got us FromSoft exclusive. So I thought that was a huge win for the show.
The question will be, can we get Sean into a FromSoft game like this? Can we do it finally?
I'll buy it. I'll play it for 15 hours and be like, you know what? This isn't for me.
You do try. You try it with all of them.
I try them.
Yeah, at least you try.
Maybe this multiplayer though. Maybe it'll be a little more fun because other people are playing too.
If you give it 10, 15 hours and it doesn't hook you, then maybe it's just not your gameplay style. That's the threshold for me. I had to die so many times until I finally got my character to a point where I understood what I wanted to level up, the swords I wanted to upgrade, the play style I wanted to fall into. And then from there, it was like every game has been 100 hours plus, 150 easy, just no questions. So
we have the situation with the pre-orders, and then we have some super chats to go over as well. But we're not able to apparently at this time pre-order the system in the US specifically on April 9th. Now, pre-orders have already been going live elsewhere in the world, and apparently they're selling out quickly. So it's going, the system. It's not sitting around at all. Some are saying it's selling out in minutes, and I'm sure there's plenty of bots and stuff also in line. So we'll see as we get after the holidays and stuff how the system momentum stays. But April 9th is apparently not up for us with pre-orders anymore. And according to Nintendo, it has to do with tariffs and shifting marketing conditions with the market. So now
Thanks a lot. I'm blaming Hulk Hogan. Thanks a lot, Hogan.
Hey,
It's your fault.
I said Hogan. You know, this was like the
Hold on, did you ask me if I could talk?
You
thought
kept
you were
saying
mute for an hour.
market. Yeah,
Blaming Sean and Hogan for this one. It's both of you guys' faults, you bastards.
for life, brother.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
I mean, what do you want me to do?
I want you to rip off your shirt and say, this is
I'm
Tariff
not
Mania, brother. This is Tariff Mania.
I'm not.
That's what I'd like you to do right now.
No way. This is a comfortable ass hoodie.
Rip your shirt like Dreamcast guy did.
Why? So I can buy an Activision game a week later?
Just rip that shirt like Activision made you so angry.
It's an actual hoodie.
Shout out to Dreamcast guy. I'm just messing around. You don't gotta rip your shirt, brother.
People are concerned now that this system could actually get more expensive. And it's a lot of unknowns right now with the tariff stuff. Apparently, Vietnam is like looking to even out or drop the tariffs, is what's being said.
I read that too.
There was some speculation that Nintendo came in at 450 because they were trying to guess the tariffs. Again, it's a lot of speculation. A lot of people trying to figure out what's going on. Were you surprised, Gene, when the pre-orders got pulled for April 9th?
Yes, I was extremely shocked. I can't believe it happened. Unbelievable. I'm speechless. I don't know. I'm still speechless. It's crazy. I can't believe. You know, I was just there at the event, and they're all like,
Right.
"Yeah, it's gonna be 450," and you see the whole production of the Nintendo event. So you really it was like E3. You know, fucking Jeff Keighley is there, Giant Bomb is there over in the corner yucking it up. Kind of Funny is over here. It really does feel like E3. And then the morning after, they're just like, we don't know. Actually, sorry. Crazy times.
Nintendo made it political, and therefore I'm out.
It was a weird time to
What the
see
hell?
politics and video games. Just you can't, a lot of people escaped that world with video games, and like they just merged, just like a collision course this week. Obviously,
Slammed into each other. Albert asked John, "What do you think?" Nintendo comes out and says the price is $700. I don't think it's going to be that.
no,
That would be
That's
insanity.
DOA at 700.
Yeah, there's no way.
chance.
No.
Yeah, I would have a hard time. Like, I don't know if I buy that either. So.
I mean,
That's
the move
like-
should be it's still the same price when they come
Right.
back, and if it's not, then it's like, whoa, hold on a minute.
To jump in on this, I wouldn't freak out just yet because there are communication things, and
Mhm.
it might be a nothing burger. In addition to that, waiting and seeing is appropriate to make sure that makes financial sense. But in general, games are what are profitable. Consoles, aren't as much. The margin for profit for that is so low, and I just feel like I would assume that Nintendo would eat the tariff until it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they would do that to get as many consumers as possible to purchase it, so they could make their actual money, like in the games.
That $80
But we'll
game is
see.
looking a little interesting though.
I know, but
They ain't eating
feel
nothing.
like-
They're eating your money.
I know.
$600. Give it to me.
Ugh. Okay, that's what I'm hoping, at least. And this ends up being like we're freaking out for nothing. But if you look around, the room, everything's getting more expensive. Maybe I'm just being hopeful that they would make the business decision, a responsible business decision for how things are going with the economy. But I don't know. We'll see. I hope it's nothing, though, because this would be dumb.
Super Christian Me World says drop the price because it's Spawncast Saturday night. Second Coming says shout out RGT, go Knicks.
Good game today. Beat the piss out of that little bitch ass Trey Young. I wanted someone to take a shit on the Atlanta Hawks floor after the game, but nobody did.
Yeah, maybe if they were in California, they would have been able to.
Because Trey Young, during the fucking in-tournament season that nobody gives a fuck about, he like rolled dice because they were going to Vegas after they won earlier this year. So I wanted somebody to take a shit on the floor because they're like a play-in team at best. They probably won't even make the fucking playoffs. Hate that dude.
Colin says, why are people strange? Great question.
Life
Great
is
question.
strange. You ever played the game? It's strange. Strange people.
That one got Casual Noob in there. Gatekeeper essence belittling RPG 85's journey.
I will. I'll gatekeep till the end of days.
Nick 93 says RPG 85 finished Xeno X before OJ. Also hashtag drop the price.
Yeah, because I actually played the whole game.
Yeah, it's not like some excuses. I mean, I played the whole game because I played the whole story of the game.
You left there's so many question marks and yellow spots and all sorts of. You probably have so many things undone.
And
you ain't gonna go back and play all that crap.
I've been playing it since I beat it. How many hours you at?
I'm at 50 like something.
Interesting.
I'm on chapter 6.
Chapter 6. Wow.
Shoka says, I'm fine with the $450 price point and will still buy it if raised to 500, but not buying right away if it's past 500. As for game prices, I'm happy not every game is $80. You have Tony. Shout out to Tony. Dave says, why is it okay for other countries to tariff the USA but not the other way around? Tariffs in general should end. Open markets for all. No $80 games. That sounds like an economic course that we are not equipped to teach.
Sounds like he's been listening to Hogan when it comes to that stuff. And getting your advice from Hogan, brother.
He wants flat tax though. That's a good. I like flat tax.
Fishfan says, Spawn since NS2 Pro controller was announced. Well, we need to go all Pro RGT. Oh, that's right, because it took Sean 3 years or something like that to buy a Pro controller. And then RGT, how's Gma? What flavor vape? Any good eats this week? Yeah.
Grandma's good. I did see her this week. This is mint ice and good eats. Nah. Did I eat anything interesting this week? I ate strawberries for dinner. They were pretty good.
Minata Mario says, first Spawncast after Switch 2 Direct. Let's go. Me, I am going to wait and buy Switch 2 months later after launch. Remember, all Switch 2 cost $90, apparently. NF Galaxy says, like it if Switch 2 enhancements were on cartridge. Yes, that was
that would be nice.
Code and everything in the box. Yeah, that was the whole thing. Mine says, since some GameCube games have some features that require analog triggers, how are we going to emulate that with the regular NS2 controller? That's a great question. I don't know.
F-Zero GX is already one of those, right? So I wonder. I mean, I guess they just you can't accelerate like by holding down the trigger more anymore.
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll see.
Or does it kick in if you just use the GameCube controller, right? I mean, so that's probably what would happen, or even a wired GameCube controller, I would assume, with the adapter.
Well, they added the analog trigger controls to like Mario Sunshine in that 3D All Stars collection.
They did.
So
that's right.
I guess they can have it detect either way. Tijo says, remember when Microsoft standardized game prices at $60 for handheld games? Now I think we're headed back to that time where there is no standard price. Sad, by the way, drop the price, Nintendo.
Yeah, this is going to be the hot topic until Rockstar comes out with $100 GTA 6, and then it's I
was skeptical about the $100 thing. Now I'm like 90% sure it's going to happen.
Right,
it's going to be
like I said, the industry want this, and like it's happening now.
Yeah,
and if the analysts are saying that, that's because they're hearing that exact same shit from other people too. Like it's everywhere. So, yeah.
It's going to be at least, I would say, at least $80 for like a certain edition of the game, and maybe if you want like the better edition, it'll be like 100 or 100 something or whatever. But I would say at least 80.
Agent Redbeard says DK looked lit. We asked and they answered. Can't wait to see the new Mario game. #GoBucks.
Did y'all beat the Heat tonight? I saw Giannis with that fucking disgusting fadeaway to win the game that came nowhere close. How's Kyle Kuzma working out for you too? Imagine trading for Kyle Kuzma in 2025.
He's a solid player.
He's ass in a basket, especially with his contract.
His contract's not good, but it's not. I mean, the NBA people overpay all the time. I mean, he's better than Bradley Beal and his contract.
Yeah. Oh, the Bucks did win. I hope we have the Bucks in the first round. That'd be such a cakewalk.
McPango says, hopefully these tariffs makes this generation extra long, so the next generation feels like a real jump. Spyro Jones says, Croc's modern controls is a game changer. Worth it. Tijo says, specs-wise, it's better and cheaper than the Deck OLED, though. It is. It is for the Switch 2. Miguel says, someone who's never played a turn-based game, I want to give it a chance. Any recommendations? Maybe a more modern or more recent game. Well, hey, you know what's coming out at the end? Well, we don't know what to say. I'll say Expedition's coming out.
Yeah, Expedition is going to be...
We'll see.
awesome. But I would say Metaphor Refantasio. That is a hybrid. That is action and turn based. So try that out.
Also, Persona 5 while you're at it. It's delightful.
Persona 5 is great.
I finally finished Persona 5 last year. I now understand why everyone loves it.
I honestly love. I mean, maybe people don't feel the same, but I really think Metaphor Refantasio is better than Persona 5. But like I said, that's just me.
I totally get that. I go back and forth, but yeah.
Combat, yes. Story, no.
Fair.
Lemstar says screen share at 5 FPS is a highlight for me during the direct. Also, RGT better play Scarlet and Violet since it's finally getting a patch.
Really
Yeah, Sean, let's play
shut
Pokemon.
my hand in a car door and do that.
Casual Noob Gamer says, are there tariffs on super chats? Got to save money. Apparently, there aren't if you're a Knicks fan or if you don't tell Sean to play Scarlet and Violet.
Fucking YouTube tariffs.
Sean will make you leave with some verbal tariffs. Valenhorn says, Gene, what's your cat's name?
Jack.
Jack.
Named after me, basically. Jack used to be my nickname in high school. So
Jack is precious.
Average Console Gamer says, can I trade my Switch in now before value drops, or I need it to transfer my library to Switch 2?
Ooh, I don't know if they answered that question yet.
If you have NSO, you can obviously your saves and you have your account. However, there are some games that are tied to the system memory. In certain
Animal Crossing,
settings and features and stuff. So, I mean, I would probably wait and transfer it over and then sell it.
GameStop was showing a picture that was like $175 for OLED trade-in credit, and like what I feel like they're gonna keep those same trade-in values for a while. So you may look for that because it might stay the same for at least for the launch window.
G-Man says, who did Hulk Hogan vote for in the 2024 election?
I wonder.
Same person The Undertaker voted for.
And now we're getting
Glenn
Tombstone with tariffs.
I think The Rock did too, but he keeps that on the low.
We're getting leg drop with tariffs since Hulk doesn't have a freaking kit at all. Leg dropped.
Later Storm says,
Maybe an
I'll wait.
Bomber.
Wait 4 years after launch.
He just rips his shirt and goes, "Oh, I'm Hulk Hogan."
The
He doesn't
Axe
actually
Bomber
have
was
any
his
moves.
Japanese finisher that he knocked out Antonio Inoki with back in
This is how you know-
1981 at the fucking New
This is
Japan
how you
Pro
know someone
Wrestling.
crazy, bro. I try to talk about Hulk Hogan know how to wrestle, dude. Everybody says he's ass. Mick Foley said he's ass. Everybody said he's ass
Mick
as a wrestler.
Foley, a stunt man. Come on now. I love Foley.
Wow.
But people know Foley because he jumped off of shit, not because of his
Foley
fucking
was
actual
way better
wrestling.
than Hulk Hogan as a wrestler. Way better. And he had the mandible claw. He used to stick that stinky socko in your mouth. That was crazy.
Just character says you put 100 hours in Mario Kart World, you pay 80 cents an hour. Games replay value are quite cheap. Elsewhere, WoW has $90 skins, no one cares. Just character says also it's called supply and demand.
That is what it is.
James says we already pay 80 in Canada for the most part, anyways.
This shouldn't be a thing where we all suffer. I feel like it should be cheaper.
Yeah.
Like I walked, like
Yo, somebody said that in my stream. They were like, "Oh, well, in Canada, like, wow, we gotta pay so much." I was like, "Yeah, but enjoy your free healthcare." He's like, "True."
okay, fair enough. But video games have nothing to do.
I said, if something happens to you here, you'll die if you don't got insurance. They'll just be like, "You out of luck, brother."
Shokus says,
Yeah, when I had my cancer surgery, they were like, "Do you have $5,000?" I was like, "After insurance?" They're like, "Yeah, you have to pay $5,000 right now." And I was like, "I'm lucky I have it." I was like, "What if I don't have it?" Like, well, we're not doing the surgery then. I'm like, "Fuck, I'm about to die, bro!" Like Jesus.
Wow.
That's what it is. That's what we got here.
Yep.
Shoka says the only games I'm buying at 80 are Trails games from Falcom, anything from Monolith, Soft, and Luigi Mansion games. The rest I'm waiting on sale.
Hell yeah.
That's what I said. So it's subjective. Everything is based on what you feel is worth whatever it is. Exactly.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, let me get a tangent real quick. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a video game that has 400 original pieces of music. When you think about buying a music album that has 400 pieces of music, that's a box set that costs about $60 to $80 already in and of itself. Now, you include that in a video game that has voice, like hundreds of hours of voice acting and special effects and graphics and 100 hours of gameplay, maybe way too much gameplay in the first place. Then you start to think, wow, maybe like, is this worth that $70? I don't know. You know, maybe you shouldn't have made 400 pieces of music. There's also that.
Ashoka says my spending habits aren't gonna change since I tend to wait for sales for most games. Even with the Switch and first party Switch game, I only buy the ones I love. There you go. Prinny Dude says, unfortunate week for a game release this week, like South of Midnight, totally drowned out by the Switch 2 blowout, but I've been enjoying it regardless. Well, I had like the early access this week. Next week, it'll drop into Game Pass normally, and that's probably when many people, I'm sure, would check it out. But yeah, that game definitely got like drowned out, as you said. Vito says, Mario Kart World going to be epic, 24 players at once.
Yep.
Casual New Gamer says, video games are expensive hobby. People are white.
Whiny what, John? It says another word there. Don't scam people.
I'll leave it at that. Cool Rip says, Mina the Howler about to cost $80. Thanks, Nintendo.
Oh, geez. Well, people are buying. Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
No, baby.
Coach says, I don't know why, but RGT is my favorite YouTuber. God help me.
Very sorry. Very sorry.
Mob says, do you guys think we're also paying for the cartridge size storage, as Tears of the Kingdom was Nintendo's heaviest game and now Mario Kart World is, and both are expensive?
I don't know if I mean, look, the cartridges they're better. They're obviously way faster, and it looks like it's a 32 gigabyte cartridge. So they never figured that out on Switch 1. The expense of the cartridge, they never did. So I mean, I can only guess that it's even more expensive because of the cartridge. The cartridges are upgraded a lot better. They're faster. So
I like this game. Says I'll pay Nintendo $100 for a full game on card. Nice and thick, artful color manual, beautiful insert, quality cases that are not cheap trash like they are now. Please, there's a higher end market for collectors. Nintendo, don't even hear you.
Please. Speak quieter.
If the physical game market has to go to like a collector edition tier for just to get everything complete in box and it's all on a cartridge, that wouldn't be a bad option. You pay a little bit more.
But then it'll be like all limited run games all the time, basically.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
That's a little tough right there, man. I mean,
yeah, you're
no
right.
shit against LRG. I appreciate what they do, but also it takes like a year to get the shit. So.
It would have to not be like it would have to be done from the publishers themselves and the studios. Yeah.
Also, shout out to Super Rare. They also do it, and they're awesome.
Cybertor says, I don't love the $80 price, but Mario Kart was the first game I ever played with my kid. We still love it, so the hours of memories and fun we will make with the new entry will make it worth it for me. There you go.
Okay.
Casual Noob Gamer says, Sunbro made a Wind Waker is coming video every day. Congrats. There you go.
Yeah, we finally got it. Hey, did it work or not? You know what I mean?
Yay. Good job.
I did see that, bro. I watched your visit, bro. Every other day, there was a GameCube Wind Waker video, man.
If it was listed on a Russian retailer, if there was a new Korean translation that didn't exist before, you better believe I was reporting on it.
If you went outside and saw Wind Waker, you'd make a Wind Waker video. If you like, damn, there's a Wind Waker. This,
windy outside.
That could be out there.
Yeah.
Wind would blow on a Wednesday. Wind Waker video on a Wednesday.
Every direct predictions video for the last 4 years, Wind Waker's coming. It's here.
That's okay, man. Even if I even have a dream about Monolith Soft, I make a video on it. So it's like it cannot even be real. I might do it. So it's all good.
JC says, let's not lie. Most of Nintendo's first party games are going to be base 80. If it gets DLC, going to be 15 to 25. So in total, 105 or more.
I mean, Elden Ring was $60 and Shadow of the Earth Tree was $40. That's a $100 game right there.
It is. And it still sells for around that. I mean, outside of a sale period. So,
and like we said, Cyberpunk is $80 right now. So,
Albert gifted 5 small membership. Shout out to Albert. Give Albert a thank you in the comments or the chat if you gift the membership from him. Shout out to Albert. Shout out to Albert. Super Christian Me World says, you can sell that Nomad for that Switch 2 plus MK World, Sean. There you go.
I've said personally, I am buying everything because I'm in a different situation.
Because you're going to become a Nintendo YouTuber, right?
Nah, I just talk about it when the time is right.
I don't know. I have to sell my liver for Nintendo Switch 2. It's getting pricey, man. I gotta start donating blood. Or selling plasma. There you go. Remember those commercials used to sell plasma? Sell your plasma?
Yep.
Yeah. I used to go to the sperm bank in college, actually.
Oh, man, I ain't doing all that shit. Hell no. Let me time
What do you mean
Time Brothers back to that, man.
All
You got
that
different.
shit. It takes like 10, 15 minutes. You know, you just
Hell
twice
no.
a
I
week.
don't want somebody rolling up saying, "Hey, man, you might be my dad." One of these. Hell no.
Well, that's the thing. I signed documents to make sure that no kid will ever say that.
Yeah,
Right?
you signed documents.
I did. Yeah.
You
So,
signed documents. Black people
there's
get
probably
screwed
like
over. Hell no. No, I will not sign a document. You.
I mean,
That's
I don't
you.
know. But like, there's probably a bunch of the little Gene Parks
Not
running around
me.
in Southern California right now. But you know, that's where it is. So.
Somehow my paperwork is lost. Hell no. But your paperwork is everybody else's paperwork fine. But my paperwork somehow got lost. Hell no.
Nady says, I wonder,
Sorry.
since GameCube NSO expansion pack is for Switch 2 only, if NSO price goes up, will Switch 1 people get taxed for that too while being left behind?
I feel like they wouldn't raise the price if you can't access it. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Super Christian Me World says, this is my last dono before I start saving for Switch 2 and Mario Kart World.
Nice.
Christian Baum says, Nintendo can pimp me any day, even if Mario Kart and the other first-party titles were $100.
Christ.
I'll buy it.
No.
There's a percentage of that's how people feel. So there is.
And they know that. And that's why it's $80.
Yeah. Yep.
God damn it, guys.
But even like even with third parties and stuff, like all the different digital editions and stuff, a lot of publishers already been known they can do more than 60, 70. I mean, it's already been known, but whether you accept it or not, once again, is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
I still have some super chats to go through here, but I want to also do some outros for people so they can get their plugs in and everything. Gene, thank you for joining us tonight. Where can everyone find you, sir?
I actually need to head out real quick right now. So,
Yes, sir. Where can everyone find
Are we
you?
closing out right now, pretty much?
We're basically. I'm gonna go through some of these super chats and stuff. I just want to double check the mailbag that we have. But yeah, we're done all the topics and
All
everything.
right. Well, I just want to thank everyone for having me here. It was a blast, and thank you,
Take it
chat.
easy, Gene.
Thanks, Julia, OJ, Sunbro, John.
Check out
Yeah.
Gene. I got him linked
Meet
in
you,
the description below. Check him out. Check him
Yeah,
out. He's got, I'm sure, all kinds
WashingtonPost.com,
of
more coverage.
impression stuff and pieces for Switch 2. So
More Switch 2 coverage coming out. You can check out my Instagram story on the Washington Post Instagram too. Blah blah blah. But thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
shout out
Bye,
Gene. Thanks for
Gene.
coming through.
Bye
See ya.
guys. Adios.
Did it.
Later.
Bye.
Wilkin says our Mario Kart World and future pack-ins virtual game cards. We don't know.
Mario.
Not
Well,
know.
Mario Kart World is not a virtual game. It's not a game key. That one's like I'm pretty sure it's already confirmed that that's on cartridge. Donkey Kong Bonanza as well. There are some retailers that are already listing virtual game key cards. Like Elden Ring is one of those games that says it's going to be a virtual game key card, according to Play Asia. That may or may not be accurate. So
I think
we'll see.
I think it's going to be that, but yeah, we'll have to wait. See, but I don't know if you say virtual, it makes it seem like it's all digital. But these are the ones that you buy in the actual like physical retail store.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
so
it's just you're downloading the content from the internet. That's been a thing with a number of PS5 and Series X games. Also, like it's literally like the disc is a code to unlock the game, but you can still go resell it. So
yeah, it's PS5 is actually it's pretty solid with having most of it on there.
Right.
I know with the number of Xbox games, it's like if you want like the smart delivery, since before they started really getting them on the Series X by itself and all that, it would be like to where you just download the upgraded version of it. If you know, some games give you both. I think like SMT5 Vengeance that gives you both of them on the actual disc on Xbox. So yeah, it's. I don't know. Did we have a segment on that? Are we gonna have a segment on that? Or
Nah, we ended up going long for some of the other stuff.
It's
so
too,
we're-
it's too late.
I still wanna
Either
go
way,
through
Went for a fucking hour.
yeah. Either way, sorry. It's a replacement for this crap. You guys ever seen, Mortal Kombat?
yeah, the blue
where it's
banner.
like, they'll give you like 8 gigabytes or 4 gigabytes, and you got to download the rest. Now it's just pretty much you make a physical of it, right, or you make this. There's no more download code in the box or this crap. It's just that.
It is just an option for developers, though, right? So it may be there. We may see more of these game key card situations than we did of digital only games. I feel like it's just like that middle ground. If the developer doesn't want to, there's going to be
a ton of game key. I think there's going to be a lot because it mitigates
so
the risk and the cost of the manufacturing of this type of stuff. They never figured out the prices or they never got the prices lower. A lot of these games, like what is Elden Ring's like 50 gigabytes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would have to be on a 64 gigabyte card. They're not paying for that, And like all these other big games that are coming, they're not going to be paying for that. So, dude, Square Enix didn't even want to pay for a damn 16 gigabyte cart with Bravely
For-
Default.
Yeah, Bravely Default. Yeah.
You know, so
That's right.
yeah, we're gonna see it.
Drew Man says Nintendo just ascended to Apple level of anti-consumerism with this pricing. It's not cool for a gaming industry already in decline. Don't normalize this. Ashoka says Switch 2 specs are fantastic. I'm getting the system. Very contrasting comments there.
That's a good follow up to the last one. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yum Yum says now you can use your Switch 2 cam with this podcast. I guess it would work with PC if someone makes a driver.
I did hear
USB-C.
something about any USB-C
Yeah.
webcam is going to work with this thing. Yeah, that would be
Really?
interesting. Yeah, I heard that talked about in a video. I did not deep dive it, so don't hold me to that. But somebody was saying that.
I feel like it won't be because Nintendo
Right.
likes to do that shit, but we'll see.
Everyone calling the Switch 2 Nintendo's first video chat. The Wii U crying in the corner ignored again.
Oop.
Yeah, it's true. We did have it.
Brian Lewis says, do either of you still believe that, like the Xbox Series X and S, that Nintendo will introduce a lower price spec version around the release date? Is there room to do this?
lower
I
spec
think we
version?
have
No.
with
Switch Lite later on, but it's not going to be lower spec. You know.
Yeah, we'll get another model, but it won't be a lower spec version. They're gonna maybe go higher. This is like with the Switch 1, they didn't have a Pro version, but they usually do, like a new Nintendo 3DS or Game Boy Color or DSi. All of those were more powerful versions.
Sean, where can everyone find you, sir?
You can find me on RGT85. I have a video tomorrow going up. I bet you can't guess what it's about. Eventually, I'll have a video on this Sega Nomad here that I had to buy because of that shitty Nintendo Switch 1 Direct. I have one
You had to
more.
buy it.
Well,
No
I made a
choice.
bet. I made a bet with the audience because I said they're not going to fucking do one this
The audience
week.
really won there.
Yeah. I mean, I still won at the end of the day, but I have something else coming in for it. I'm gonna hop off because I am extremely tired.
Yeah, you said you were probably falling asleep earlier, so that's fine.
All right,
Bye,
goodbye.
Sean.
See you,
Hey,
Sean.
Sean.
Okay, let's see. Got some super chats. I'll check the mailbag too, but I think we'll be wrapping up in a little bit. What I'm happy. Oh, Ashoka says what I'm happy about is that the backwards compatibility is free. It's just they charge for things like adding HDR, etc. I'm only paying for the Switch 2 versions of all the Xenoblade games. So they say.
Paying
Maybe
for the
that's
Switch
Xenoblade
2.
X upgrade.
Well, there might not.
Hopefully they
be,
do it.
Yeah, there might not be a paid version of that. Like there's a
Right.
number of games that are free upgrades, so it could just be a free upgrade. You might not have to pay for it at all.
Fluka says, "Is this the correct chat to spam? Lower the price." You know what? Better than some of the other stuff that gets spammed in the chat. I will give you that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bots show up that that spam a lot worse. Pona says, "Nintendo gamers gonna shoot ropes for 120 hertz." Thanks, Capone. Newcomb says, "I think Nintendo is way smarter than we realize, and all of this chaos and drama was strategically orchestrated by them to garner all of this publicity."
Not the pre-order delay. The pre-order delay was they did not want to do that.
I don't know about all
In
that.
this theory, did Nintendo like convince our government to make tariffs? Like, I'm curious. It's all Mario's plan.
It's really Furukawa on the
Yeah.
phone with the decision makers over here in the
He's
U.S.
just sitting there.
If you really look closely at the White House, Mario was. You can see a dude in overalls just in the background,
Yeah.
just with his
pillars
back
to make
turned,
an
slowly
M.
looking.
So,
Like
says
it
I
was
convinced-
me.
Convinced my girlfriend with Buy My Switch at full 2017 scalper price. I'm ready for the Switch 2 no matter what the tariffs cost. I even included Mario U Deluxe.
It's a me, tariffs.
Oh my god. That was great.
Parker Brown says, I'm looking to rebuild my Game Boy Micro. Do any of you know what cartridge slot it uses? Does the Micro use the same parts as other Game Boys? Oof.
That's a good
Jeez,
question.
I don't know about that. That is a very good question. That is kind of the position you're in with these micros now, is like
Mhm.
you got to basically piece them together at this point because they're so rare. I don't know. The cartridge slot on that, I think that uses a weird cartridge slot as well. It should be close to game. No, because it doesn't take Game Boy. That's a good question, Parker. Ashoka says I would buy Chrono Trigger HD2D remake for $80. Square Enix going to hold you to that.
Don't say.
Helman
Square
says,
Enix said,
I'm telling you.
What?
Yeah. Switch
What'd you say?
reminds
Glad.
me of the upgrade from X1 series. No personality like Wii U, eShop, Music, Miiverse, etc. Switch OS is boring. The OS didn't really change that much. It's still
I was shocked.
kind of
I'm still hoping. Here's my only hope. We haven't seen a game highlighted yet. So what would be cool is if when you highlight a game like Mario Kart World, like if you're on that menu icon, the background changes to what the game is, like PS5 style. It was every screenshot that's come out of the OS has been on the settings menu. I noticed down beneath. It's been on those smaller icons. So maybe that's my last hope. Otherwise, no personality.
Still have themes. Like they could somehow still do themes at some point.
We're probably going to be talking about that 5 years from now, and it's still light and dark theme only.
They might. I mean, I don't know. They might.
Yeah.
Darth says, "Hey, RGC, thanks for last night." He thanks you. Roy says they're adding Prime 2 Echoes on NSO first before Prime 4.
That I'm fine with that. How do they get 3 figured out though? Because if you're doing 2, you got to do 3.
Fernando says somebody here regretting their vote. Well, they were talking about Hogan earlier. So. Next, Cyberpunk runs 40 FPS docked on Switch 2 and 40 to 60 on Turbo on ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. Switch is optimized, looks to be underpowered to current handhelds. There are a lot of benchmarks for like the ROG Ally X because that has more memory. It's 24 gigabytes of RAM and it's faster as well. That's coming in at like 40 to 45 for most of them. And it's like lower technically because the Switch 2 has like DLSS upscaling and other things. It just the image quality just looks better. That's the biggest thing.
ROG Ally, that's like the $800 one.
The ROG Ally Z1 Extreme would be like the $600, $550 to $600 one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. But of course, no dock or anything like that. So you start piecing all the stuff together, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna be more expensive. Vito says, how genius is Nintendo with basically the same system? They still managed to offer a mind-blowing gimmick by turning their Joy-Con to a mouse. Celia, where can everyone find you, Celia?
You can find me on Game and Talk. I'm on a podcast with Sean and Nate and Josie. We talk about Nintendo stuff. It's fun. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm Celia B with 3 E's.
Got to give a shout out to the audience, the viewers tonight, because he had almost 5,000 people watching concurrently. So you guys got to go and check out the people here. They're in the panel. I had them all linked down below for joining and everything. So make sure you go give them a like, subscribe at their channels and stuff. Sunbro, where can I find you, dude?
Yep, Sunbro Nation over on YouTube. If you're into Switch 2 news right now, it is not just all leak and rumor conversation anymore. Like, legitimately, we got tons to talk about. So, yeah, some cases, multiple videos a day, and normally, 6 to 7 videos a week, all in the Nintendo news cycle with what's going on with everything. And then we will be deep diving all of the Mario Kart footage, the Metroid Prime 4 footage, Donkey Kong Bonanza, like everything in the lead up to this. I've been waiting a long time for Switch 2 to be here. It's finally here or close to. So yeah, feel free to check me out. And thanks, John, for having me on. Appreciate it.
And OJ.
Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube. I pretty much cover RPGs and Nintendo a lot. I stream pretty much almost daily. Maybe I'll take a day or 2 off or something, but usually streaming all the time. I got some cool videos that I put up on Switch 2. Obviously going to be doing that as my son's going crazy in the background. And yeah, we're going to have a bunch of cool stuff on Switch 2. I got a video on Mario Kart coming up. Got a video on Donkey Kong. Yeah, so very much if you're into Nintendo Switch 2 content and if you're into RPG stuff, I'm going to be covering Claire Obscure Expedition 33. That game is like Final Fantasy X and Lost Odyssey combined. It is awesome so far. So I'm going to be covering that. And so much more. So if you're into that, check it out. And then, of course, the Spawncast pre-show, I do that as well. So if you want to hang out for this show next week, I am there for that as well. So thanks for having me on, John. Shout outs to Sunbro. Good to see you here again, man.
Good to see you too, man.
And Celia, shout outs.
I got more chats and stuff to go through here, but we're in overtime now. So if you guys need to pop out or anything, you're good. You guys have your outros and all that. So good to go there. Otherwise, though, I'm just going to go through some more of the viewer chats here.
Yeah, so we go take care of my son before he Spartan kicks
got
mom. Okay,
go for it. You got it.
Hey, OJ.
Right,
Good to see you, dude. Bye.
Sterling Jones says, any chance Switch 1 games will run at 1080p or docked resolution handheld mode by default? Run at 1080p and handheld mode by default. Oh, for Switch 1 games, they're all 720p in handheld mode. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Probably the update with the free update ones, I'm assuming would take advantage of that. But outside of ones that are being updated, I don't think it's going to be like any other than an update. They're not going to take advantage of that extra power. That's my thought on it.
Oh, J-Dog says, GameStop employee here. There's a deal for Pro members that gives $25 off $250 or more. Pro works on new consoles, excluding PS5. If it works on Switch 2, GameStop may be the best place to buy. My plan was to go to GameStop to pre-order because in
person, right? Yeah, in-store inventory you can reserve. That's awesome. But Best Buy is doing a midnight launch. So now I'm like,
Yeah, but like Best Buy, you got to go on. I'm going to try them.
You have to do online.
Well.
So if you get it online when it drops, but then GameStop can be back up like whenever they open type of thing.
TJ says, now I'm wondering what happens if you try those challenges on a TV set that isn't capable of 120 hertz. Well, I assume it would detect if you're even on 120 hertz display then.
Nintendo will have a promo link for you to upgrade your TV and get a kickback on
Not too much longer. Nintendo branded TV coming.
Yeah.
Brandon C says, most families I know have 2 to 4 Switch systems because kids buy kids. Do you think at the current price point, parents will be willing to buy multiple Switch 2s and then trust the kids with them? No, I'm not buying my kids any Switch 2s right now. They have Switch 1s. They're good. we need the Switch 2 Lite for the kids to get into this ecosystem because $450 is a price point that makes you think twice before you're handing that to like a 7 or 8 year old. You know what I mean? Yes.
Nintendo's console. Sorry.
No, you're good, Celia. Go ahead.
Oh, I was about Nintendo's console demographic is about to shoot up.
Yeah. My plan is I get it. It has Mario Kart. They can use a controller and play it, but they can't walk around with the Switch 2.
There you go.
That's it. Koopa Slayer says, I'm not buying an interactive instruction manual. Well, Derek says Josie's on vacation far away. She'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Pickle Rick says we need Geist on the GameCube. I'll take Geist.
Nice.
I'll take Geist. Super Christian V World says can't wait till OJ and RGT try Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. I think OJ has Path of Radiance actually.
I have it too. It's a good game.
Celia has it. I have it. A bunch of owners here. Look at that. Casual Noob Gamer says we will get limited release of Wind Waker Twilight Princess for Zelda 40th.
Good way good way to do it. Let's start up the rumor mill again.
For a year.
Sweet. Yes. For the Switch 1. Why not?
Why not? Take it away. Take it away after a year. Dead Boy says, I bet Mario Kart World $80 with Joy-Con wheels. Art of the deal. Shiny says, I'm sure the quality will justify the price. We'll see if that direct. The direct's coming up. We'll see. Timothy says, RGT and OJ give me 2 claps on a Ric Flair. Mafra says, to reduce the import of 54% from China, they could then ship to Brazil to import from there. That would be only 10% of fees. That's a lot of work. Figure that out. Gosh. CG says, shout out to Gene Park. Shout out Gene Park. Gingerbread says $80 for that's the one where he made Link in the Hulk Hogan. $8 for NS 2 game that you can buy once and all 4 grandbabies can play at once. I call it a win. Chabo Thunder says, shout out to newly formed Rabbi RGT. Pretty Dude says, you think tariffs speed up Sony PC day and date? I don't know. I think they've been stockpiling systems in the US. Apparently they've been trying to prepare for this. So I feel like they'll be able to weather a storm of a few months, but it'll be more like if it goes the rest of the year, will happen then. Liza Phil says no longer buying launch if higher than 450. They say hi, Celia.
Hi, Phil.
Quentin says, can we see Smash Melee supported by Nintendo competitively if it comes to NSO? I think Nintendo wants to stay away from Melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I think they're okay distancing themselves completely. Almec says, I'm still floored at how good games on Switch 2 can look. So glad games won't see as much of a downgrade of ports. Albert, new member. Shout out to Albert. Shiny says, I have 1 voucher left. Help me. Luigi Mansion 3, Pikmin 4, or Animal Crossing. I don't know which to get. Thoughts?
Ooh.
My vote's... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, Luigi Mansion 3. That's my vote. What's yours?
Depends on what kind of gameplay you're wanting, but if you want puzzle, I would just say Luigi's Mansion 3 as well. But Animal Crossing, I know fans of the franchise, if you like cozy games, you're going to get hundreds of hours of gameplay. So,
but I feel like if they were a cozy game person, they would have picked it up.
That's fair.
So it'd be dipping their toes in, and it can be overwhelming to new players. So that's my thoughts.
Luigi Mansion 3 is like probably one of the best looking games on the system too.
Yeah.
It is visually stunning. Yeah, for the Switch.
Counterpoint. Brian says, I hate RGT, all caps.
Oh.
Straight Shot says MVG did a video that all Switch 1 games on Switch 2 are through emulation. Made to turn off for me until we see how the emulation is. Oh, people will test all these different games, see if there's anything weird going on.
There's a list of ones that don't run great right now. They're all third party, and it's not super popular games. So, and I'm sure that list will continue to get smaller as time goes on.
Mutator, chat Mutator. Will Switch 2 get a year one price cut like 3DS and Wii U?
No,
I don't think so. I think they're going to be
worried
fine
about
in the
it
first year.
staying at 450 at this point. So
I know, right? We can't get greedy on the price.
Dean says Switch 2 is getting wrecked on TikTok. This launch feels Xbox One coded. We'll see.
TikTok's
I don't know. Yeah. 7 Moments says $8 a lot, but please give us finished games. That's all it is. The bar is low. Karia says, can we ask Gene about the Switch 2 screen quality versus Steam Deck, OLED, PlayStation Portal, ROG Ally, Switch? So many people there said that the LCD looked really good in person, but yeah, we could ask Gene that. Well, DVD Night says, appreciate all. Cool to see Sunbro.
thanks, DVD Night. Appreciate you, man.
Ooh, I should have put that up. There was a thing with Bonanza that people are trying to figure out timeline stuff. I see a Mutator with a certain character that's there. I don't know if that's a spoiler for people. I'm not sure. But I see you're saying Mutator. I think maybe I wonder if there'll be a direct for DK ahead of its launch and they'll explain that, or a story trailer, because there was some weird stuff going on there that they have to explain. Chief says, I believe the games industry won't be able to survive $80 to $100 games. Most games will flop and more studios will be shut down due to poor sales. John M says, people forget in the 90s that some Super Nintendo games did cost $70 to $80, like Killer Instinct, Ultimate Warcraft 3, Donkey Kong Country 2.
Just because it's happened historically doesn't mean that they need to continue tradition. I'm poor. No, it's one of those things, man. Like, you're buying so many like awesome titles and like it really adds up quickly.
There was also a weird thing going on with the cartridge cost back then, right? Like it was, I mean, it was a different time, different situation, but
110%.
Decker says, let's pray they bring Donkey Konga. Hey, let's do it.
I hope they have Chunky and Lanky. Oh my God, I love them.
TJ says, yeah, OJ, but that $130 price point for the Trails through Daybreak 2 Ultimate Edition was ludicrous, though. Super Christian Me World says, I'd sell a... Yes, yeah, thanks, Super. Thank you. Juice Man Bond says, typing, drop the price in all caps doesn't make you an activist. Not with that attitude. Jazzy Jefferson says, shout out to everyone on the panel, but best announcement for me was DK Bonanza. Looks so good and very fun. It does look really good.
It's cool.
It does.
It's cool to see Nintendo go to that. It's like Astrobot level visuals in a 3D platformer. It's cool to see from Nintendo. It's just awesome.
Yeah. The interaction with the world is probably the most interesting part to me. So I need to see how much can you really destroy. So that's what I'm going to be doing the whole time. Also, I imagine there's hiding a ton of stuff underground and finding stuff everywhere. Tuggin says, just wanted to say, Knicks suck, go Celtics. Oh, there you go. Sean probably just screamed in his room by himself just now. Heart Ponder says, switch to Nintendo Labo, upgrade to Styrofoam, pay $90 USD, C button sold separately. Shoko says, you don't have to buy a Nintendo branded camera for voice chat. It has been said that you can buy third-party voice chat accessories.
I also did just verify, side note, any USB-C on Nintendo's website, any USB-C camera or any compatible, so it's any compatible USB-C camera that you'd like to use. So it does not have to be Nintendo's own camera, surprisingly.
I'm really excited for all the weird stuff that people use to,
yeah.
Because like someone beat I think someone's beaten like I think Elden Ring like with like a dance pad or like a banana or something. So.
I saw somebody streaming with a punching bag the other day. Like they had a controller set up where they were playing Elden Ring and they literally had different spots that they punch to do the buttons. So they're getting a workout in and fighting final bosses on Elden Ring. Crazy.
Oh, it's so cool.
Metal Slime says physical games die with this generation. Writings on the wall with these key cards winning us off. Sucks for collectors. Them. Yeah, this might be it for physical games.
Writings on the wall. Writings on the wall. Yep. Julie
B has a bunch of nicknames for us and then asks OJ to unban them. Thanks, Julie. Aiden says Twin Snakes on NSO GameCube Classics calling it. That would be pretty cool, actually. Get Twin Snakes in there. That game cleans up really nicely, too. J-Dog says GameStop will also be doing midnight release.
I didn't know that. That's good info. Well, J-Dog, you're doing your job as a GameStop employee because you're selling me on going to GameStop now for my pre-order. That's awesome.
There we go. I'll keep an eye out at GameStop. I think that's gonna be the move. I've never had an issue. I've gone to GameStop for like all the midnight release. Never had an issue. So, Snake, how do you think Sony handheld will compare? Well, we'll find out about that in like 2028, I think, at this point. It's going to be a little while, but I think it'll be stronger, obviously, because we're going to be talking like 3 years from now. Tifa, no message there. So Tifa, Timothy says, will I still be able to have one Nintendo account with 2 Switches on a family plan and buy a game once and share between them without purchasing the game twice? This new system is confusing. That's a good question.
I believe so. One Nintendo account with 2 Switches on a family plan, buy the game once and share between them. Yeah, like you can do that game sharing feature that they did at the the March Nintendo Direct, where basically you allow it to share to the other console. It's like a 14-day rental thing and it comes back, or you can take it back at any time. But it can only be played on one console at a time. So that's my understanding.
Mecha Omar says, so many super chats. John making bank tonight. Well, I appreciate super chat to remind me of how many super chats have come through. But at this point, Celia stuck around, so I'll have to split some of it with her now.
Oh, sweet. And I was just here. I don't know. I was hanging out. I have nothing to do.
We'll split some of it with her.
Switch 2 is expensive, John. I'll take some if you got it. No.
There you go. Okay. Spread the super chats around. Vito says, why didn't they shadow drop Donkey Kong 64?
That's a good question.
It's crazy that it's still missing. And they were doing so much for the Donkey Kong anniversary with the Donkey Kong Land games on Game Boy. I thought like Nintendo was actually actively kind of celebrating Donkey Kong's anniversary with that. And then DK64 sitting right there and never came.
I know. And okay, so I know earlier I talked shit about Donkey Kong 64. Go back and play it. Like, you'll know what I'm talking about.
It didn't age well.
It didn't, but it was, fair. I remember having fun with it. There's just a lot of jank to the game. Where I thought it was a skill issue with me, but like as an adult, I went back and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, I think they should re-release it. People need to experience that too.
Bobby says, not spending 1K for Mario Kart World and Kurok Poop. Oh, shiny Kurok Poop. One launch title now, buy pizza and rent a bounce house like a sane parent. There you go. The Switch being $629.99 in Canada and then $699.99 for the bundle worries me, and Mario Kart 8 already being $80 is very worrying. And sometimes Drinks Tea says 3 E's.
3 E's. Okay, so the lore behind that is that Celia B with 2 E's, like what I used to go as my handle or whatever. Someone has it on Twitter. So I was like, okay, we're 3 E's now. So that's where that came from. There's your lore.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Yeah, I will. These two stuck around, so I'll have to give them some of the super chat money. Douglas says pre-orders in Australia have, I was trying to calculate them now. Pre-orders in Australia have been up from the 3rd and are still available. Do you think interest low, or is there just a lot of stock? Up for the 3rd and still available.
Interesting.
Australia,
yeah.
How much is it in Australia? Because I have a feeling it's incredibly expensive there.
Yeah,
I think it's more that the pricing on just in general there. Like that's MVG will tell me sometimes that the stuff is like $1,000 for a system. It's like, my gosh. Mobix says the place
700 Australian.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The place of USB and the headphone jack is perfect for a tiny cam plus mic plus wireless headphones add-on, kind of like the PSP cam add-on. Okay, there we go. 7. Yeah, 7. I see 7. Jeez. Some mailbag questions here too. Yes. I will. Let me see. What do you think? I'll read some of these, and then we'll also have some of these. I'll send them over, and you guys can also have them on Game and Talk as well, because these are a lot of these are Nintendo questions too. So that way we can have it there too. So I'll put 5 of these. Yeah, there we go. So we'll do 5 of these. Start at the top. Clive says, what do you guys think of some of the advice that's been given by certain YouTubers to skip the Switch 2 and get a Steam Deck instead? It's going to come down to the games. Steam Deck's a good system.
Do you want to play Mario and Donkey Kong and the next exclusive Zelda and Smash Bros. or not? I mean, that's,
Sure. Yeah.
Steam Deck's a good system. It's got access to Steam.
It's great.
Steam is very good value, but I understand some people are like, does it play Mario Kart Tour? The answer is no. And then there you go. That's how it's going to be for a lot of people. Or Metroid Prime.
Yep.
Mikey says, what are some Switch 2 enhanced games you guys would like? I'm personally hoping for Mario Party 1000 Year Door, Xenoblade 2, and Xenoblade X. Xenoblade. I'm playing Xenoblade X right now. I would like that enhancement patch. I would. It runs at 30. It looks clean, like texture clean, but I'm envisioning this game looking way better on the Switch 2.
Just because it doesn't really need it, I guess, but why not have Super Mario Wonder in 120 frames per second? So if they announced an enhancement for that, that'd be kind of cool.
I'm getting mine for my wish list. Forgotten Lands, for Kirby. That frame rate was really, really rough. So I'm happy that they're adding more content and redoing that a bit.
There we go. Timothy says, thanks for answering, but that makes me mad now because I have 2 kids. I need to buy 2 copies of the same game at the same time. I did not have to do that until now.
I think look into that further, but my understanding is that's how it works now past this new update. So it's better in certain situations and worse in others.
Blue Chicken says, another question, if you don't mind, given that the Switch 2 dock is a fan, do we think portable docks will no longer be a thing? I really enjoy my Genki portable dock when traveling with Switch 1. Looking forward to the show.
Good question.
Ooh, yeah, that is tough. The fact there's a fan, I think there's some serious tech in there. Obviously, if they're cooling it, I'm curious how third parties handle that.
I'm going to assume Nintendo's going to recommend you only use their dock, but it doesn't mean that they won't make other third party ones that could work.
I've seen some do attachments to the dock. So you have the dock, but then you have an attachment that makes it apparently easier to take it. I don't know. We'll see. Brandon says that the Switch 2 edition of games are just Switch 1 games with download code. Does that mean the Switch 2 edition isn't running natively on the Switch 2? Switch 2 edition. No, it's running natively, but it's just a patch if download, so it will lock that code to your account. That's the big drawback. Once you
can't resell the upgraded edition because it's a one-time redemption code if it's the Switch 1 version of the game with the upgrade.
And then finally, Varang asks, what else could they announce if Nintendo Today is supposed to have Switch 2 news every day until the Switch 2 launches? What could they announce? They could show. Sometimes they'll just do video files. They could literally just do a video file of another part of the OS. I think that's
true. Good point.
Like you're saying with the icon, here's the OS with an icon on the screen. There you go.
Yep.
That'd be
for that promise. Is it literally just focused on the hardware, or could it be anything and everything?
It could be anything.
Probably anything Switch 2 related. So there's tons of stuff.
They could do it literally for here's a close up on Mario's mustache. They'll get weird.
They will get. I bet you they will get quirky with it. Yeah, absolutely will. And last one, Warren says, new fan here, Spawn Wave. You all think the Switch 2 will fail like the Wii U if these tariffs don't drop? And honestly, I'm all right with current prices. They don't. Well, I mean, if the tariffs don't drop, there's gonna be a lot of other problems. I think the PlayStation 5 will be.
It's not just gonna be Nintendo. Yeah, it's just consumer electronics in general. Your phones, everything. It's gonna be a weird market if nothing gets figured out with that.
I feel like our economy will drop if these don't get put down.
Yeah. I appreciate the focus on the Switch 2 because that's what everyone's talking about. Pre-orders are delayed. There's a lot of other stuff that's going to be expensive that you won't even think about the Switch 2. So, yeah.
I don't think it'll be hard for Nintendo to ever see a Wii U level of failure again, though, with the brand they've built now with their connection to their fans on social media and stuff. I have a hard time believing they'll ever sell a console that's only 13 million units again.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything there. We have some of the mailbag questions we'll also have on Game & Talk, and we'll probably read some off again next week as well. We went pretty late today, and it makes sense because of the Switch 2 stuff, but Celia stuck around, Sunbro stuck around, they stuck it out. Shout out to them. I will send them some of the super chat money. Shout out to everyone who came through and donated and stuff. Appreciate it. Detective Muffin says, do you think the GameCube coming to NSO killed any chance that Princess Winter is getting for it? Wow, people really want that.
They do.
Time out. Okay, I can't remember. Is Mario 64 on NSO?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and there's a physical of that as
Yes.
well. I don't
Mhm.
think that would kill it. That wouldn't be the sinker.
And I do believe, because somebody said it earlier, it's now the highest likelihood for Nintendo to tie it to an anniversary if they're going to do it at all. Just like, that's like 3D All-Stars was very much Mario's 35th anniversary celebration game. So maybe we see it like that, but it is a long shot now because Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, while they were 3DS remakes, they still had better versions. Majora's Mask, they changed some stuff I didn't like, but basically they had more updated visuals. Those never came over as a port. So
okay, wait, time out. What if we get the game? Okay, I'm just gonna throw this again. When they had like Master Quest in there. What if they made it where they combined the Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, and Master Quest?
That would be excellent.
Like, oh my god,
one day.
That's on my
day,
wish list. One day. Okay, I'll stop extending this thing. Okay,
Switch fan says, with these the Switch 2 games, do you think Breath of the Wild will have all DLC on the cart?
Ooh,
I don't want to make a promise one way or the other. I think with these, you know what it is, these Switch to enhance things, someone just needs to buy one and open it up and take a look at it. That's like where
probably now that I'm thinking about it though, it probably won't, because it's just going to be the base game, and then that upgrade code is going to unlock the DLC with the enhancements, is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So that's, man, it's confusing times. There's a lot of stuff hidden. So it's Timothy says, I see so many different answers from y'all in chat. Nintendo needs to make things clear. That is true. The $90 thing went around like crazy. And I'll just clarify again, in the US, there's no $90 version of Mario Kart World. It's just $80 digitally, $80 physically. What happened, it seemed it got passed around, and then somebody in a headline accidentally put the dollar sign instead of, I think, the euro sign or something.
Insider Game, I reported on that the day of. Insider Gaming made an article because there was pricing in the European region where it is $10 more expensive for the digital, and that was like the first pricing that got shared. So it was one of those things that, because they were just trying to do the conversion, they were saying, well, in the US, this might mean the games are going to be 80 digital and physical is going to be 90, because they were going off of those prices. But now that we have the prices in the US, that didn't end up being the case. That's what I think happened. But yeah, I still see people saying $90 all the time, and it's not going to be the case for us.
I'm surprised it didn't spark a physical first. On Twitter, like every 4 months, they bring up physical should be more expensive than digital games. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised it didn't spark up discourse about it, because we thought it was going to be true. Oh well, okay, continue.
Adam, I see you, Adam. The Streamlab thing. They said, what other big third-party ports would the cast like to see come to the Switch 2? For me, I hope to see Star Wars Jedi games as well as the Dead Space remake. And they say go #Cavs.
Nice. I'm with you on the Star Wars games, and then I really hope that Night Rain comes over as well, the Elden Ring multiplayer spinoff, because that's coming to PS4 and Xbox One, so I think it will be there also. But and the missing Souls games too. We got Souls 2 and 3 just sitting there as perfect. They could just do a Dark Souls trilogy and throw it on Switch 2.
Bring over Halo.
Yeah,
bring it over.
There you go. Microsoft, I cannot wait for them to show up in a big way for Switch 2. I think there's still going to be a lot coming from them.
Oh, and Celia, Zero Leaf, so they missed the introductions, outros. I think they were asking if Celia has a YouTube channel.
I do not, but you can find me on Game and Talk. That's my main thing I do with Josie and Sean and Nate.
Moonass just got here. I'm late. Has never been stated. Switch 2 will by default play Switch 1 games as a solid FPS without Switch 2 edition upgrades. Yeah, somewhat. We went over that in the show, but there is a list of current Switch 1 games that will get some lesser updates. I get not like the upgrades we see with ray tracing and whatever else they're doing there. But yeah, Sunbro actually went over that with the page that is currently displaying it. Ornol became a YouTube member. Shout out. And I think that is everything. Yeah, we're good. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Slightly longer show. We had fun. Covered a lot of stuff.
Good
time. This is Spawncast episode 408. We will be back. Game and Talk would not be this week. It'd be the following week.
Yes. Wednesdays.
Okay. But who knows? By then, who knows? By then, you might have a $700 Switch 2 to talk about, so it'll be great. But we'll
can't wait.
We'll be back next Saturday night, either way, though, with Spawncast, and we'll see you guys then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.